The document is broken.
Oh no, Klein, we started
Oh
off
no,
with
never mind.
problems.
No, it's
Oh,
okay.
God.
Google Chrome just shut down. Everything's fine.
This is such a terrible start.
This is such a
No,
good classic
it's
start.
fine. No, don't worry. It's not Google Chrome. It's the computer.
Anyways, we'll get started with the Clan Battles training stream for Season 4. We're going to kind of go over mostly the topics that are new, and if you really want to watch everything, I'll link our last training stream from, I think, the previous season. We can kind of go over some stuff more in detail, so we're going to focus really on the changes and the differences between this season. We have WilliamTheDank from 07,
Hey.
Evrien from NEP.
Hello.
Kozero from Adopt. Oh, I don't know what sure your name is anymore.
Hello.
Klein from Adopt, and myself, Gresky from Adopt, and
Hello.
I'm sure we might have other mentors popping in as soon as they're able to. So I guess we can kind of just start off with this season. We'll have a minute or two to pseudo complain about Stalingrad, and William can defend it. And
So, I don't go that far.
So I guess a lot of people are going to be, or a lot of people have expressed anger on, Reddit, the forums, whatever it may be, about Stalingrad this season. I think overall most players will tell you it's not really overpowered. It is kind of bullshit and boring to play against that way. It has its glaring weaknesses that you can exploit if you have proper team coordination and lineup. You just really have to counter it. I guess we can kind of go over some of the quick. We'll go a little bit out of order on our list, and we can just kind of talk about the Stalingrad thing real quick. I guess how do you counter it? The one thing that we noticed pretty quickly, that I'm sure everybody else noticed too, that played against a lot of Stalingrads, is it does not have hydro. It's not very maneuverable, and it's a big ship. So torpedoes are a good way to force DCP. Just do big alpha strikes on it. What have you, to get rid of them quickly. A lot of clans started running Shimakaze for this reason. Also, Shima got its damage buffed on its guns, so it's a little bit more flexible that way to fight other DDs as well. The other thing is Stalingrad and Moscow too, because they're pretty similar as far as their armor scheme and I don't know, kind of generally how they're played in clan battles from a lot of teams. Even though you could easily argue you should not play the two ships exactly the same. They both have 50mm deck armor. I believe the whole bow is just 50mm, right?
No, there's
upper head 25.
Okay, but yeah, so
It's got a strip of 50, and the rest is 25.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is kind of the general thing about them, is they're static. So generally they don't move. If you get a broadside on them, they will die quickly, and they're easily susceptible to torpedoes. I don't know if you guys want to go into more. We've kind of we haven't encountered huge Stalingrad problems, I know, except for the other last night, and we kind of just talked about that we lost against that competition because we screwed up. Not really because they had a superior loadout or Stalingrad won it for them. We could have easily won it, and we just didn't play well, and we didn't adjust to it properly. So I don't know if William or Evrien want to talk about it more and get kind of a different clan's perspective from it than Adopt.
I could go for it. I've been thinking about Stalingrad a lot lately.
I'm sure you have.
The thing about Stalingrad, and it's early on, a lot of people said it was just kind of a side grade to Moskva. But obviously, if it were a side grade to Moskva, then people would be running Moskvas and Stalingrads, and we're not seeing that. We're seeing people run Stalingrad. So why are people running Stalingrads? The reason why people are running Stalingrads is because, when you compare a Stalingrad against a Moskva, there are really two separate parts of the ships that you need to think about. There is Stalingrad, the hull, the ship, the armor, all that stuff. And then there's Stalingrad, the gun, the gunnery platform, its ability to threaten and do damage, right? So Stalingrad, the hull, is worse than Moscow. It's larger, it has longer fires, it has a little bit more health, but not enough to justify the longer, to make up for the longer fires, I suppose. And it doesn't have hydro. So all these things are like downsides of Stalingrad versus Moskva. Stalingrad makes up for those downsides with the gun. The guns, specifically the AP of the guns, threatens to punish cruisers from across the map. It's either 20 kilometers or 26 kilometers, depending on what module you're running. It threatens that. It can do that, and that's why people run. Because you can threaten people like a battleship, even though in most cases, or in many cases, rather, it's not necessarily better than Moskva. In the cases that matter in clan battles, it is better. So that's my thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree with what William just said. And to add on to that, I think what William and we observed from clan battles is that Stalingrad has not only satisfied the need for a certain type of ship, a certain type of a weaponry, but also it also bends the meta more or less completely. I would say that much because, essentially speaking, for not only having good guns but also Moskva level of armor, which renders standard 203s almost completely ineffective against it. Things like the Moing, Zao, even if you throw IFHE on it, they won't be effective, and you can only rely upon Henry, IFHE, or Stalingrad's the same 305 calibers to truly stand a chance against dealing damage to it using HE, not just AP on broadsides. In that case, people can find Stalingrad hard to counter when they're running a more standard comp in the clan battles. And that is very glaringly apparent when you throw a standard, let's say, Gale level clan against Stalingrad heavy Typhoon Hurricane level clan, latter of which is more likely to win 80-90% of the time. And it's hard to counter in that sense. But like William, I will agree to that it's not uncounterable because the more you play Stalingrad in clan battles or in randoms, the more you discover that the ship is actually very lacking in certain fronts, and a good player, a Unicom, will find many instances where Moskva or name this ship will do better than Stalingrad, and Stalingrad is only one way they can achieve a higher win rate, which they can, let's be honest, do the same with basically every other tier 10 ship. So there you go. That's the basic big takeaway, I think, from us. And Stalingrad has its weaknesses, which will be countered by certain ships that we'll discuss in the following sections.
Yeah. So I'm not going to claim that Stalingrad isn't a bit too much.
Nope.
Because it probably is. But it's not insurmountable. It is entirely possible to deal with. All you have to do is choose the right tool.
Yep, and also that the meta it changes. Like season 1, where we saw the beginning, where Moskva is so heavy. Season 2, Hindenburg ruled the seas, and season 3, Zhao was the new champion, and season 4, it's Stalingrad and Henry. So to play Clan Wars, you kind of have to play along with the meta. You alone cannot change the meta. You have to adapt to it, overcome, and improvise. I know I just made a meme there, but that's basically all there is to it. That's true as it is.
I guess like our only comment on it is it's kind of boring to play against.
It's pretty boring to play as, yeah.
It's play as a Stalingrad or against like a heavy Stalingrad lineup. The only kind
you just kind of sit there and take damage.
20-kilometer trades is the most boring gameplay you can imagine.
So I was checking a few things. I don't know if you guys mentioned a few of the counters. I already mentioned like torpedoes, lack of hydro, and maneuverability. One of them is Hindenburg or IFHE Henry because they can pen the 50mm armor. That's one way to counter them. Henry seems to do really well, especially with that reload booster.
Oh yeah.
So you know that's ways you can counter it. You've seen Henry become a pretty popular ship this season. One for Stalingrad, plus that reload booster really changes things for Henry. And also people just seem to have figured out Henry a lot better than they did in previous seasons. And I don't know, just seeing them the previous seasons, it was almost kind of like a joke, especially like a Henry versus a Zhao. Most times, as long as the Zhao is smart, they could really control the engagement and easily win. But now, especially with that reload booster and better Henry players overall, things have changed a lot.
Yeah, well, before this season, Henry was a joke.
So I guess
let's not mince words. It was a joke. And then Wargaming added the legendary module and reload booster, and now it's fantastic. Yeah. It's a great ship. It deals with Stalingrads with ease. It shifts. It absolutely flies around the map. You can get so much map control done with that thing. So much more than Hindenburg, at least.
Yeah, Hindenburg is way too slow for this purpose.
Not to mention Henry, when played right, is really hard to hit. We were kind of just talking about it, how I'm terrible at it. But when you see Henry in the right hands, Henry is near impossible to hit. Usually they're at a longer range. They're playing with the throttle rather than using the rudder shift is kind of what, I just saw one of Henry's replays, and
let's make sure we show that. I want the world to see it.
Yeah, we'll show that right after this if you want. I'm all for that.
All right.
So yeah, a good Henry player is a pain in the ass, and that's how it should be. So that's kind of one of the big counters to Stalingrad. But you have to use IFHE, which isn't really a problem in Henry. There's not too many captain points that demand something out of Henry. Says like most DDs need their pretty, their set points. So Henry can easily take IFHE. What else are you gonna take? Radio location? I mean. Nah, not really.
Well, AFT would be the other main choice before IFHE became a thing. But then again, once this season rolled around and people realized how powerful IFHE Henry is, and AFT, you don't need it in clan battles at all. I mean, we're the carriers, right?
What's a carrier? I don't know.
I don't know. They do know? No. Yeah. So there you go. Basically, IFHE Henry is like the only viable build, I would say, for Henry in clan battles. Otherwise, why would you bring Henry when you could bring this ship, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I don't know. Unless you guys have more to talk about Stalingrad and Moskva, I think we can kind of move on to that. If and summarize it, just play smart against it.
I think it would be a little bit too much to say that you have to have a Henry or a Hindenburg in order to deal with the Stalingrad. You can still deal with a Stalingrad. They have long fires and all the rest of it. But
yeah.
Having a Hindenburg or a Henry that can just farm them down with the constant DPS is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, we've used other techniques of just, hey, everybody focus it down. It still goes down. People act like it's invincible. It'll still go down under focus fire between.
When you're shooting at it, it's a big Moskva with longer fires.
Yeah.
And people don't realize this, but when we focus down a battleship, the battleship has equal tier, if not better armor than the Stalingrad, and we don't we don't end up saying, oh my god, we can't focus down Yamato, we can't focus down Guazakur first. I mean, we'll still do it with our cruisers. So why not to a Stalingrad, right? It's basically the same logic. Like no ship in this game can stand focus fire. So if you catch one while it's making a mistake and punish it for it, you'll most definitely bring it down. So there goes that. And I guess we can talk more about Stalingrad and how to counter it in the ship choices section we're talking about next, right?
Yeah, let's move on to the ship choices. So I guess basic things that have changed from last season's. The Yu Yang is first on our list. It got it got kind of neutered with.
It's a bit dead.
Yeah,
it's a bit dead.
It's got its gun reload.
I will say right here that Wargaming did an absolutely retarded decision here on how to balance this quote unquote balance this ship. I'm all for making a second hull where make a second hull where you can mount a radar like Chapayev for example, and keep and nerf that hull for example, and keep the original one actually viable for randoms still. Like right now, I see a random Evrien, I'll be like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah, I think the Yu Yang nerf is easily summarized by you guys nerfed the wrong thing. The thing that was really powerful about it was the radar.
I found it very weird that they nerfed that aspect in particular, and I'm like,
in their explanation for the nerf, they said that the radar was a problem. So in order to bring the Yu Yang back down to par, they nerfed the guns and the torps, not the radar.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wargaming.
Alternatively, you could nerf the concealment if you absolutely have to, and you still give Yu Yang a sizable advantage over the other DDs. But no, it has to be the friggin' guns and
You just have to make it useless everywhere.
Dude, they
Yep.
have
But the
to
question-
make it different from the gearing. Come on, the radar
Yeah.
is the only good thing.
But the question is, like, is Yuan completely dead? Well, I suppose we can, share our different opinions around this. To me, I say it's dead, but not completely in the grave. There's
No.
still definitely a role for Yuan
It's
to
in
play
the
in clan
grave.
battles. Well,
It's pretty well in the grave.
If you
Well,
look at like
it's-
the average skill level team, it's
Yeah.
still
Run a
not a bad
Minotaur.
choice.
Well,
Like,
Minotaur is
2
a
weeks
different
ago,
issue.
I wouldn't have said that, but run a Minotaur instead.
Yeah,
Or
you're the
run
one who told me
Harigamo.
directly to say the otherwise. But Yu Yang still satisfies a very niche role in the clan battles, and so far it's the only stealth radar that satisfies that role. Otherwise, it's a Minotaur, and Minotaur is harder to manage than the Yu Yang, for example. So for the standard clans who still would like to give this ship a try, there's definitely still room to maneuver around Yu Yang, but it's not going to be the same Yu Yang from season 2 and 3, and you can't really depend on having that Yu Yang be the centerpiece of your strategy. So yeah, that's my takeaway from it. After having seen Yu Yang's strengths and weaknesses this season, where Arian got outgunned by the Shimakaze, so that speaks for it.
So yeah, I guess Yu Yang, it's not a great choice anymore, but it's still workable. I would say at high levels, it's really not workable. Its only advantage is deep water torpedoes that are hard to detect, and that can get some people, but most people are pretty much everybody's running Hydro that can, except for Stalingrad. I'd say Stalingrad is the one place it could do kind of okay because it does pretty good damage with the torps and they're hard to spot. But then again, you still have just better options overall. So it's kind of got like a little bit of a niche role that works in specific situations, I think. So I guess to kind of, you mentioned Shimakaze can now outgun a Yu Yang, and that's another reason why Shimakaze's kind of made a bit of a comeback this season.
Yep.
Its alpha and its guns got buffed, I believe, so it just does more damage.
Yeah, increased alpha
yeah.
damage and fire chance.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
will say when you
2150
guys
for the alpha, if I recall.
Yep.
Yeah.
what I am going to say is when I went over to our Alpha Discord channel and they asked and I was like, oh guys, I'm here. What do you guys need me to play? And they're like, oh, can you play the Shimakaze? And I'm like, are you serious or are you joking with me?
Yeah,
I did not expect this to be a thing.
One of our players is a rock star with landing torpedoes. So Shimakaze has been his wet dream, just to say the least.
One game he got like 5 torp hits on the Stalin and just death struck him.
Lovely.
Yeah, he's a miracle worker with that thing, and I've seen a lot of other clans run it. I don't know if ZR is still running it, but we ran into ZR early in the season, and they were running a Shimakaze and tearing everything up with it. It outgunned our gearing in a close quarters duel.
Oh yeah.
So
Until we abuse do.
I think YIKES is running it too, or
Uh,
whatever their name is.
yeah. Or Matsukaze, when he comes in, we can ask him what his latest clan rendition
last
is.
time I saw it was Throw.
Yeah. Throw. I think it was Throw still.
Yeah.
So
Gaishu and friends.
yeah,
Don't-
Gaishu and
don't
friends,
bother
basically.
remembering their actual name.
I still just refer to them as Yikes. There's no reason. Everybody
Yeah.
just kind of still knows them as Yikes.
Like I would call them YIKES still, but I think they're going to keep that fine tradition up by keep changing their names. Yeah, so Shimakaze is definitely very viable. Another one will be still Grozovoy. The AP buff, well, AP nerf, sorry, from BBs definitely give Grozovoy a lot more survivability. And actually, borrowing this, I would actually like to point out how sneaky Wargaming has done with this AP nerf. Because if you think about it, in the beginning of the season, when we all just got so surprised by how popular Stalingrad became. We're like, oh, Wargaming, please, like many of us were like, oh, Wargaming, please limit battle cruisers in clan battles, right? But no, like if you take a look at the BBAP change, you'll realize that wait a second, this is Wargaming making way for Stalingrad.
It affected Stalingrad more than any other ship
exactly.
in the game.
Because before Stalingrad, before this nerf came in, and when season 3 first ended, like Stalingrad was killing DDs left and right and center. Like it was the most effective counter to any.
And now
DD.
it can't do shit.
Exactly. So the nerf was basically saying, Wargaming's way of saying, okay, here's what we're willing to give you for it. Now get ready to embrace the Stalingrad meta. Have fun, guys. That's basically what Wargaming has said with the AP change. Less on actual BBs, but more on battle cruisers like Stalingrad and soon to come Azuma as well.
That's why Henry exists.
And there's a Matsukaze from the elusive Yikes or Throw clan.
Dude, I'm fucking eating. Just got off of work. Leave me alone.
But
Okay.
don't you want to talk about Stalingrad? How much you love the ship?
I don't mind the Stalin. It's boring as hell to play.
It is. It really is.
Well, you missed something there. Yeah.
I mean, like the most advanced gameplay that I use in my Stalingrad is they sometimes actually speed up and down.
Hey, Claim. Is it your connection or your mic that's garbage?
My mic. Buy me a new one. Come on.
Yeah. So that basically is for the DDs. Like gearing, nothing much has changed about it. So Z52, those ships have been stagnant for a while now. Nothing's really changed. So not really need to talk about them. So I guess what we can say about the DD section is that Yueyang be more selective towards it. As in like if you find trouble achieving certain things, don't be bogged down to it because it's no longer the absolute meta DD like season 3.
It's fucking trash, dude.
Yeah,
I know. That was basically what we were talking about for the longest time before you came in.
Like some people have been trying to keep it running, but really,
dude, it's trash.
So before we move off of destroyers, there's 2 DDs that I haven't heard mentioned yet. The first one is the Grozovoy. I have seen some teams running it, and I don't know. I haven't felt like it was used to its full potential. Like, most of the times I've seen it, my thought process is why not just run a gearing? It was doing pretty much everything a gearing would be doing, and Gearing would probably be doing it better, or even Ashima at that point. I guess the only thing Grozovoy has is long-range gun power.
And the heal.
Yeah, and the heal. The heal is really nice. It's you don't really want to underestimate that.
You can
it gives you more survivability.
You take another fight and not have to worry about it because you just use 3 charges of your heal.
True.
Stalingrad. It's
much better for trying to fight people.
Yeah, but the thing is, generally the Graz is going to be on the same flank as a Stalingrad, and that's a problem.
So I guess the other DD that we haven't talked about much. Well, I guess there's 2. Is Haragumo.
Right, completely forgot about Haragumo. Actually.
Yeah, we don't want to underestimate that one.
I'm sure Amatsu will have plenty to say about Haru.
And I actually have Haragumo footage
from
the first time we tried testing Haragumo, running up right now with one of our better DD players, or probably, I don't know if he's our best, but one of our best ones. He had fun in it. We made some dumb mistakes because we had never run this in clan battles before. Are any of you running Haragumo too much? We've only started using it like in the last day or 2.
Yeah, YIKES did for a bit. We're still throwing it in and out of comps.
I remember ZR also had a couple of Haragumo games, but I believe we're the only clan to run or try running a Haragumo heavy in the upper like Typhoon Plus tier. The result was absolutely it's hilarious because Haragumo there was one game where we came across MIAA and they had an Henri on the off flank and they bumped into our Haragumo comp. Had no sin, and they did not see us because we kept our fire until we got closer, where it made the ultimate mistake of remaining no sin into the cap point. And within 40 seconds of the spotting, we burned the Henri down with 4 Harugumos together. It was absolutely cancer. 40 seconds was all it took.
Some pretty nasty things to a lot of the cruisers.
It's disgusting seeing what like in the last 2 days. Goal, he's our Haragumo player. Just watching like him go, oh, here's the ship, let's focus fire, and just slowly seeing that ship's health melt down so quickly is just.
Oh, it's not even slow.
It ain't that slow, dude.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean.
It's pretty quick.
It's disgusting.
You're putting cruiser levels of firepower with the pen change.
He's fighting Woosters 1-on-1 and winning all the time. It's stupid.
Yeah, but Haragumo's
cruiser levels of firepower, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely has. But Haragumo's biggest issue is definitely the huge hole and still being vulnerable to BBAP pens. And also that the pen doesn't really help against Stalingrad. So if you run Harugumos and you encounter like 3 Stalingrads on the other side, you'll be like, okay, so I guess we're completely useless now.
Wait, Graz, are you playing my 360k Harugumo game in the background?
No, is that a clan battles game?
No, it's not. Well, how do you get 360k in clan battles?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
With a lot of dedication.
Yeah. Because right now I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at our replay. Our entire team has 360k damage, so that Haragumo has to do some work.
Yeah. Tell me about that, Masakase.
Play a 5 Stalingrad team, dude. Easy.
Oh, God. So yes, Haragumo, especially when played properly and with the right support, can be an absolute terror. Without the right support and without the right captain, it's pretty weak. It's easy, as we already said, it's easy to well, it's susceptible to BB-AP pens, and its maneuverability is really shit. If anything launches torpedoes at it and it's not already on the move, it's gonna get hit pretty much. There's not much you could do.
There is no dodging torpedoes in a Harugumo.
I have a bad history.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
No.
I could see a Shimakaze torps from 4 kilometers away and try to maneuver around it, and I still get hit because the giant ass hole is just not responsive at all.
Unless you just
you're as long as some cruisers, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So anybody who's listening to this and looking for advice on what to do against Harugumos or even Harugumo heavy compositions, run at them with radar, shoot at it. It melts quickly, and it launched torpedoes at it. It can't maneuver. So. And
Harugumo heavy composition, you cannot. I'll point this as being someone who has played it and played against it. You cannot run a standard way of dealing with a regular comp with it, because the moment it catches even one ship out of the flank, singling out the one ship, that ship is dead. No questions asked. We've burned down. I believe it was an Invader Zim from 07, who thought that he could do a more daring smoke radar approach with the Worcester, but we burned the Worcester down before he could even go back into smoke. And that was how fast the focus fire from Harugumos are. The ship is retarded, but if you try to run at it one at a time, you will absolutely die before you could accomplish anything. So the best way, actually, as stupid as it sounds, is to lemming train into it with your radar cruisers and focus down one at a time. Because they're still DDs and they're like low health pools, less than 30k. So you can focus one down pretty good. But if you try to run them one at a time, say like do one-on-one trades, you will lose to Harugumos, period.
Just role play your true World War II experience, form a battle line, and just press. It's not hard.
It's not hard to outdo them. I guess the other DD we haven't heard much about is Daring.
Just try.
Oh no.
There's one team we played against that seemed to use it in one way effectively. Every other time I've seen it is, I don't know, it was just a joke. They ran an all Stalingrad composition, put the Daring in front of it and just used its hydro to spot torpedoes for it. So it kind of like pushed back our Shimakaze. It couldn't get close enough without getting spotted by the Daring, or the Daring just spotting its torps and making it useless.
Question: why not Z52 then?
Yeah, just use a Z.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
the other
haven't
thing.
seen much. I haven't seen too much come out of Daring myself. Maybe someone could try it and like find a niche for it. But
it would work in lower tiers, but I think if you want to climb for higher, like like a Storm and Typhoon, you have to think alternative. Because so far from what we can see, we cannot think of a good way to utilize Daring at all. Like, why would you have Daring when you can play this ship? It comes up like a lot for us.
Exactly. So that was one, but that's also one I talked about where we were playing terrible. We threw the game on ourselves. So I mean, and that happens. But that was the one time I've ever seen it used somewhat effectively. Other than that, it's been pretty much a joke every time we see one.
Why Daring when Grozovoy?
Or Z52 if you absolutely want
If you're using Daring for the hydro reason of the hydro, just bring Z52 then. It's better hydro.
Exactly. It's also not that hard to survive because it still has a smoke and you actually have an engine boost this time. Hey!
I guess Daring does have a heal, so that's something, but still they weren't using it that aggressively for the heal.
Dude, it's a standard heal. It's like 3k. It's trash.
Yeah. But
it heals fast, but it doesn't heal
less
much.
Than a standard heal. It heals you less.
Yeah, it's like 66% or something.
Wait, it heals you fast, but that's about it. Like you can get away from engagements and come back for next engagement and quickly disengage again. That's a kind of style for Daring. But if you want to say like Grozovoy where you can sustain longer fights, no, the Grozovoy heal will still be better.
But it's my darling.
So if for everybody kind of like watching the stream a little bit, the video I have playing is of our Harugumo player. Pretty soon he's gonna just take on a Stalingrad, a Zao, and a Henry, and it's gonna be fun to watch. But we can kind of move on topics at least while we were entertained by this.
Next up is our favorite. Yep. So once again, I basically don't like to say much about it. They are the stars this season, and they are competing against Stalingrads.
Yeah,
that's about it.
We already talked about Henry a lot, so we can kind of pass on with that one. We talked about Stalingrad to death too. I guess any other somebody put something about Minotaur. Does anybody want to clarify what the hell this means?
It's fucking dead.
No.
So I know everyone wants to think that Minotaur is dead, but actually, like a week or two ago, we over in 07 tried a double radar Minotaur comp that we saw TWA having some success with.
Isn't that the one that like stopped the ship?
It was surprisingly good.
Did you guys play this on tiers with that comp? Or was that ZR? I think ZR might have tried it for like 2 games.
I don't remember. I might not have been there.
So what's the idea of using the 2 radars if you
feel
like sharing it?
You take the 2 radars instead of a destroyer, and basically you just plonk them on either side of the map and try to catch someone with it. It basically just does what a regular destroyer is, except here's the fun part. You run full torpedo reload, and you get off 8 torpedoes per side. Every
more than Shimakaze. More than Shimakaze.
You've discovered the
every
secret
72 seconds, you put off 8 per side.
That is, let me put it in perspective. That is more torpedo DPM than any of the tier 10 DDs, except for maybe Z52 with full torpedo reload.
No, it's more because that's alpha is trash.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like
it's got better. It's got like almost the same reload and twice the torpedoes.
Yeah. Well, if you can turn away around and let the other side out, but yeah. Like the reason we were doubtful, or William was doubtful, actually, when I talked to William earlier in the season, he was one who recommended me, who was a Radar Minotaur player, to switch out of Minotaur because
I was looking at our comp that we were running at the time, and I'm looking at the Minotaur. I'm like, 6 out of 7 of our ships can overmatch your Minotaur. So how could this possibly be good?
So one thing to point out, I paused the video in the stream. Look at the scoreboard. It was actually just at like 9 something. We did our best to throw here, and watch us make it back while we talk.
Yeah.
Oh shit! There's a video.
So William, keep going.
Dude, I'm still eating. Come on.
So, I mean, I didn't play any of the Minotaurs myself, so I can't speak from experience. But we actually had a surprising amount of success with Radar Minotaur. So it's not completely dead. It's possible to use.
It's pretty.
If you're really good.
I think decent.
It's not as dead as Yu Yang, not nearly.
No.
Okay, no, yeah. Yu Yang is like 6 feet under the ground. Have to pay respects. It's full dead. Like
Minotaur still has half of the body above
Minotaur
ground.
Minotaur is like shot in the leg or something.
Yeah, probably.
It's had both legs amputated. It's got an eye plucked out.
Ouch.
You ever see that scene from like that one Chinese movie where it's like the dude doing the forced teeth extraction? Yeah, it's Minotaur.
Okay.
All right.
So,
well, the way.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I like to just like segue into it by introducing this next little bit I have for Minotaur. So the way I see it, like William pointed out from earlier season, is that because of the Stalingrad meta first surging up, and you have now IFHE Henris, both ships, the counter and the countered, will kind of do the same to each other. They are both able to overmatch Minotaur, so it's a sideline downgrade to Minotaur's survivability. But it's not to say that Minotaur is not survivable. It's just that if you run across a Stalingrad or Henri heavy comp, you will find the Minotaur to be more or less passive with the way you have to play her. And in that sense, you have to adjust the rule for Minotaur then. As a Minotaur player in clan battles for some games now, what I've discovered is that Minotaur is not, like, oh, I'm dead, but I see why. I can still survive easily if I play it correct, and the Henri will have to really make some work to kill me, because even though you can overmatch my armor, it's a Yamato overmatching a battleship. You're not going to be guaranteeing to, kill him in this amount of strikes. You'll still be doing good damage, but to be honest, Minotaur doesn't care about your damage. We'll just heal you back. And that's the thing. Yeah.
The thing with the Minotaur is, if you're up against, say, a 3 Henry 2 Stalin comp.
Oh no!
Actually, no. Let's go down. Let's say you're playing just 1 Henry and 1 Stalin, right? You have to basically play at least like 16 kilometers away from either ship the entire game, and the DD, if he has a brain, is not going to get caught by the radar.
Yeah. Well, then again, it's hard. It's hard to really say, can I get caught by radar when you can't even see it? It's a stealth radar of 8.9 kilometers versus.
Oh yeah, but any decent DD player communicating with the team is going to be like, the Minotaur is not on the other flank. He could potentially be here, and if I nose in on him, I'm probably just fucked.
Yep. So yeah, and the big idea for that is basically Minotaur is still the DD hunter, like 07 would be using Minotaur 4. But for every other purpose, for killing the spotting the enemy team's eye, that's the Minotaur's biggest job. And once Minotaur is done with that, or Minotaur cannot do it, it's basically a more passive torp boat, spamming torps at 10 kilometers, whatever. And yeah, that's the only thing going for it, to be honest.
Dude, hear me out. You YOLO the Minotaur into the enemy DD, and just let it die. Easy, dude. You've won the game. You've won the game against one DD comps. They have no DD. Fucking easy, dude.
GG.
So, I guess, is there any other cruisers we want to talk about? Everybody at other cruisers pretty much seem the same.
Azuma?
We've talked about a lot of the cruisers.
Don't run Hindenburg if you can run a Henry.
Yeah,
that
Hindenburg is basically little only right now. As sad as it is, like the king of season 2 is now degraded to this stage. But to be honest, Hindenburg is pretty damn trash in its current tier.
So the one thing I do want to mention is Des Moines kind of been in a weird spot where it's not really that strong.
Chinese teams.
Because it can easily get focused on by like Henry and Stalingrad and die quickly to them. But it's kind of had a nice utility for us for being wiggly, like the legendary mod Des Moines getting I don't know, basically attention. And
legendary is amazing.
Remove legendary mod DM. It's so fucking AIDS.
I think I had to play against a legendary mod Des Moines in a random battle the other day.
I want to kill myself.
It was frustrating.
Oh yeah.
Like it makes you feel like a worse player because you.
I went.
It makes you feel like you're bad.
Yeah, I kited 2 battleships at the same time, open water in my Des Moines, and they did like 20k of a battle. I killed both of them. So there you go. That's basically what Des Moines is in a nutshell for legendary mod.
I don't want to say that legendary mod Des Moines is good, but
it's amazing.
It does something.
Yeah, like the thing is,
angrily smash your keyboard.
It makes you very angry. Yes, that's exactly it.
Because, like, to put in perspective for those who do not have legendary module Des Moines, like with propulsion upgrade, you can go from 0. No, it's better than Minotaur. You can go from 0 to 100, so to full speed in 10 seconds, and that's 0 to around 30 knots ish in 8 seconds. So you can basically go straight rocket jumpstart when a BB fires at you from, like, say 13 kilometers away. And if it's a Montana, good luck hitting me, because by the time your shell lands, I'll be like already a ship's length away from it. And that's basically like, how do you deal with that as a battleship? Like I would be freaking pissed, like just give up shooting that guy completely if I were a battleship, and put that in clan battles perspective where the ship is less enemies to worry about, and you can be more selective with your engagement. And that'll be more hilarious. See just how the enemy team just cannot land shells on you while you zigzag around like the oily naked guy in the library.
Yeah.
I will say this season's map do favor DMs more though.
Yeah.
Can we just agree to remove Land of Fire? Thanks.
Motion on that, yes.
Agreed.
Dude, that map is trash.
Motion passed.
Yeah, no idea why Wargaming thought it would be a fun map to play in clan battles. It's just like full of random islands everywhere.
Dude, it's bad in randoms. It's even worse in clan battles.
There's just no spotting on the eastern side of the map.
Dude, there's like fucking 70,000 islands on the east. West is like ridiculously hard to push because you can just park a ship like on the home cap and you can't do anything. It's so AIDS.
Yeah, Land of Fire has been kind of bullshit.
Dude, it's garbage.
Hopefully it doesn't come back next season.
So takeaway here is that if you see 07 or YIKES on that map, you'll be thinking to yourself, "Ooh, we got a better chance this time." And so good luck taking them down.
Dude, we still don't know exactly how to deploy on Land of Fire. Like 3 weeks in, it's ridiculous.
We have an idea, but that's for us, and we are still training out different comps. And to be honest, that map is so weird right now. Like, I think Wargaming needs to reevaluate how to balance that map in competitive, if it absolutely wants to be in competitive.
No, dude, remember it in Tier 6 ranked, and it was garbage then?
We don't talk about that map. We don't talk about
the
that
video I have up right now is how you take down a Stalingrad with 2 ships. I guess long story short with this is me and Yukos. We realized all of their forces go doing a BC push, or sorry, an AC or AB push. God, I don't know caps apparently. So we literally abandon our C push, leave 2 ships there to deal with their 2 ships, and kind of fight it over. So I'll let that play around in the background while we talk.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's basically it for cruisers, since we're like kind of like sidetracking. So moving on to BBs, actually, here's a question I would like to ask. Wait, Worcester?
Oh yeah, Worcester. Yeah.
Oh, Worcester. Yeah.
Worcester doesn't exist anymore.
No.
What? You're high as fuck.
There's a few.
Well,
teams
it does exist, but it's not nearly as common as it was last season because the radar.
The radar nerf hit it hard, but the thing is, even with the thing with the Henrys is you can't push into a Worcester, so it forces Henrys to be just ass in on them all game.
Mm-hmm.
So by weird virtue of just the Henry just cannot push into a Worcester, it kind of counters the Henry in a way. Like if the Henry knows the Worcester is somewhere in front of it. Like if a Worcester opens up at like 9 kilometers from a Henry, the Henry's just fucking dead.
Yeah.
I've done that to William too. Keck?
Yeah, I think you did.
I've done it like twice too.
So yeah, I guess Worcester. I don't know. Not that even its radar has really killed it. It's just the meta has killed it. It's not much. I don't feel
the
like
armor is too light. It'll fade absolutely in open water engagement when there's more than one ship it has to engage.
Well, it's really sad when like the worth of a ship is determined how good is it against a Henry.
Also, the other thing is just bring a Haragumo. It can outgun a Worcester if the player's good. Oh no!
I guess it's up to the player. Let's leave it at that.
Go ahead. Say what you want.
This giant asshole is small. It is a small health pool against the Worcester. A good Worcester player should absolutely have no trouble against a Haragumo.
Yeah, it's like it's different strokes for different folks, right? Some people will prefer the Haru, some people will prefer the Worcester. They do roughly the same thing.
Sure.
Because the Worcester can mitigate less damage, depending on if the battleship decides he's got a hard on for your Haru or not.
God, what am I about to see in this replay? Jesus.
Yeah, this replay is stupid.
Dude, my fucking eyes.
Oh, this is also where our Stalingrad
unspotted, no radio location. The furthest east guy on the enemy team is like bordering the 8 line. Oh no.
That's spicy.
Wait, what clan is this playing against?
NNC.
Yeah. So I guess this is interesting, but
we're about to see some dirty things, I sense.
So I was moving here to go surprise their Des Moines because I was expecting him to just sit there. And then I think pretty soon I'm gonna I should pop my radar, see where he's at, and then that happened.
Should have popped your radar when you had coverage on that island.
Oh my.
Well, and then he turns completely broadside to me.
No, I think he turns broadside to you, and then I think he goes, "No, I want to go broadside to the Des Moines instead. That's close range." I think he probably thought I couldn't shoot over this island.
He probably thought the island just barely covered your guns because you did dunk some shells into it earlier.
Legendary Demod comes in.
Oh, that's a double.
That's way too much broadside. Oh, he's not even looking at you. What?
No,
he's looking at me.
Oh, and there you go. That's why you never broadside to Des Moines.
We haven't taken out the Stalingrad yet. Don't worry.
Please run radio location and put people on the 1 in 10 line.
It's more than dead. That Stalingrad is just Stalingrad broadside against Des Moines, or even nose 1-on-1 against the Des Moines, it will just suffer. There's no way a Stalingrad beats a Des Moines 1-on-1.
So we usually do have a ship with radio location on the 10 line. It's our Zhao, but since they've essentially ran off, we just pushed at them because they couldn't do much about it with their position.
I'm talking about the enemy team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You haven't been radio located this entire game.
No.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's questionable.
Do you guys still lose this game?
No, we won't.
No, this should be
a
win.
So.
Yeah.
So this is also where we screw over Stalingrad because he can't angle against both of us.
Mm.
So this is kind of what we were talking about, how Stalingrads, they don't maneuver very easily. They, they can't move around quickly once they're stopped. They're pretty static.
Look, he was in the position that YIKES was like, oh, this is the only place you can put a Stalingrad. It's still fucking garbage.
Yeah.
God, stop moving your mouse.
I fixed that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't.
Alright, so continuing.
So anyways, battleships was our next topic. I don't think we're done with cruisers. There's not much else to say, is there?
No. Henry. It's pretty brain dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Henry's if you have doubts about it, just go Henry's.
Oh my god, Henry is great fun, man. We're running 15 5-kilometer detection Henrys. It's the best.
Disgusting.
Yeah, get out of here, you guys.
So, battleships, I guess the main... somebody wrote... this is the one I wanted to talk about. Somebody wrote the end of Yamato. What's the thought process on that? I think that's William, I'm guessing?
No, that's not me.
No, it's not
me.
Oh, so explain it, I guess.
Bring a fucking Conqueror, bring a Tana.
I mean, I agree.
Countering the Stalingrads?
Bring Montana.
Dude, we've been having a lot of success with the fucking Conch, dude.
You guys are running a conch? Jesus.
yeah,
You just do it to HE spam Stalingrad?
HE spam Stalingrad.
Yeah, we do.
Well, it's a
I guess,
stationary
yeah.
target 9 out of 10 times, and you will likely get more damage off of it using HE rather than, let's see, Yamato AP. And also for those who do not have Stalingrads, like even though you have the shitty little 25mm ball cap, but if you just look into the armor scheme, here's the thing I'll tell you what it look like. If you remove the forend armor on the display screen, you will see it actually has a little cap, like a little cap on your in front of the nose, like in the middle of the nose, right before.
So you can't sit it on it.
So you can't sit on it. It's 50mm too, so you cannot be overmatched. You can only get penetrations on it. It's so disgusting how they designed it, because it basically is Wargaming's way of telling F you think you can now exploit the weakness of the Stalingrad?
You think you can get some plunging fire on the nose?
No,
Hell no.
Hell no.
There's this random
cap
on it.
Yeah, we can maybe show some way of showing. I don't think it's way for us to show it right now, but just go check somewhere, check the armor scheme and look for the little cap I'm telling you about. Yeah, but it's not completely invincible. It's absolutely possible to sit out it still, but the possibility is so thin, you might as well try citadel a Montana with a Minotaur. That's more likely to happen, I'm telling you. That's more likely to happen.
I'll fast forward through this. You know what? This is really boring to watch. I'm actually
just I was going to say, dude, from your POV,
bring up the Henry game next.
Yeah, just like bring Amatsu's the Harugumo game or William's Henry game. Like, let them have their EP moments.
The thing with the harder game is, the first 4 kills is really just damage farming. I don't take any damage. It's hilarious.
So let's get while I pull up the armor scheme, and then I'll play William's replay in the background. Let me pull up that. I guess let's talk about battleships.
Well, is that clan battles, or did you just run randoms with it?
It was a random game, but it's worth watching, man. It's really worth watching.
William, please.
Oh, is this like the 364K Henry or something?
Yes.
So what do people generally?
I'll give more
about...
context when it's over. Yeah.
What do you guys generally think about Burgoyne? I know it's still pretty new. Not too many people have it.
Well,
I know Dort has been trying it a lot. General Dort in our camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
he likes it a lot, but he also agrees that it's not enormously effective.
No, I agree with him. It's not.
The low caliber is way too much. Even though the pen is good.
Like, it's fast, it moves around, you can catch people, you can do things with the reload booster. But it's got 74,000 health and the same armor scheme as Republic, if not worse.
Dude, it's worse.
Exactly.
It's like Alice Asshole or something.
Our discussion went, "Hey Kozar, you have Burgoyne. Should we try that out?" He goes, "No, it has 32mm armor." We go, "Oh yeah, fuck that."
Yeah.
And moved on.
Yeah. Y'all went to
speaking of Burgoyne, I tried Republic a few games earlier in the season, and I got my feelings from those games were, why doesn't this have spotter plane and Yamato? Too good.
Right?
So, as long as Yamato exists, Republic and Burgoyne are just...
See, I was certain William was going to be like, oh, my thoughts were, oh my god, I'm on fire.
No, actually, I wasn't on fire too much. It was just Yamato's punching me.
And if you look at the stream, where's that little thing on the Stalingrad's armor you were talking about?
Take away the nose.
Take away the nose armor?
Which section was it?
It's that one, and then
that one, and bring us alongside it towards the front.
Where is it?
Bring the camera alongside it.
Yeah,
down towards the waterline. There it is.
It just takes
there it is. There's the bullshit little.
Oh, there it is, right there. It extends out right over
top of the citadel.
No citadel for you, comrade.
What a meme.
I never even realized that.
I'm pretty sure Moskva doesn't have that, right? It doesn't have that.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Let's see. No, it's not.
It's literally Wargaming taking the piss, being like, "Oh, you can overmatch the Stalingrad's nose because it's only 25." Well,
good job, 10K, but no citadel for you.
The survey determined that was a lie.
So, I guess. We've been running Yamato. We've been really liking it still, especially legendary Yamato with the dispersion. You can still do some good damage. Montana, William, you said has been been doing really well.
Yamato is absolutely solid. Lots of people run it, and for good reason. It does the damages. It's got that accuracy, but I prefer Montana.
Run the Tana, dude.
because you can like disrespect people in ways that you just can't do in Yamato.
Okay, the armor scheme is better.
You can walk in and do things, and Yamato can't walk in and do things.
Yeah. The thing is, the Tana is like retardedly hard to Citadel. Thanks, Wargaming. Can we revert that buff?
Thanks, Wargaming, and get to have fun.
Yeah. Can we bring back the above water Tana Citadel? Anyway, not only that, you can press the 1 key and you can make a Stalingrad uninstall the game.
Honestly, I don't think I've launched a single HE shell out of Stalingrad yet.
Dude,
I just make do with the full pens.
Just press
Get,
1. It's hilarious.
10, 15,000 damage salvos.
What, dude? Tana HE will do like 22k if enough hit. It's retarded.
Maybe I gotta try it. But like,
also, it's faster for what it's worth.
It is completely okay. And my thing about Montana versus Yamato is like, Yamato has to respect Stalingrads. Montana, you can like angle just a little bit, and like, suddenly Stalingrads can't AP you.
Yeah, you make a very good point.
It is true.
And then it's forced to use its garbage HE. It's fucking sad.
Yeah.
So
it just starts crying and raining at you for you to turn broadside.
I guess the next topic on our list, I don't think there's much other battleship stuff to talk about. GK is still really not amazing. Republic is the same
Dude, it's
thing.
even worse now.
Yeah,
Junk first.
Exactly, especially with IFHE Henry now being popular. It's,
IFHE Henry, and if you ever show a Stalingrad broadside, it gets like 25k salvos. It's retarded.
So
the pen for Stalingrad is able to pen Yamato citadels from 50 kilometers away.
Yes, it's very great when the Yamato is like, oh, it's a cruiser, in randoms, you know. They're like, oh, it's a cruiser icon, easy. Like 27k salvos.
Most misleading icon in game. Period.
Dude, it's literally just a battleship with a cruiser icon slapped on it. It's fucking dumb.
The next thing on our topic is the odd captain and module builds. Is anybody? I don't know who wrote that or what they want to talk about.
Do we really gotta go over that?
Do we want to?
Nah, let's not mislead the players a little bit because like if you go for the odd captain module route, you would really have to make some trade-off happen. And if you're thinking like, oh, let's run like acquisition mod or destroyers to spot DDs across islands, no, that's not going to be hard.
We're not talking about bad captain or module builds. We're talking about odd captain or modules.
Yeah, there ain't that many this season.
Kind of like
our boys have found a bit of success with acceleration mod on Stalingrad.
Well, I can see
that's not too odd
because you can give people's shells when they're shooting at you from 20 kilometers.
What? Is that not the standard? The fucking turning circle in the Stalingrad's trash. Why the fuck would you use rudder?
Well, you could also use the shorter fires.
Oh yeah, okay, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
that's the other one that you would use.
Well, I guess like I just run fire prevention for it. Not really.
Yeah, the thing is, you run a lot of fire prevention anyways on the Stalin.
That's disgusting. 7k HE salvo just randomly 20 kilometers away.
I know, right?
Wait, are you playing as
the rest of the
replay? This is just so we can showcase how powerful the IFHE Henry is. So,
dude,
selling always like salesman right now.
To kind of end the topic on the odd captain builds, there's some of them. I like to refer to them as the Dolphin Princess builds, where they're insane, but they work for a very specific playstyle and skill level. And if you don't meet both of them, they're really a detriment to you.
Here's the thing, like Dolphin Princess's builds are more for randoms than for competitive.
Very true.
Like imagine ZR allowing him to run that in like King of the Seas. No, he would get his face bashed in more so than SCT's Minotaur on
I don't
Tears
think
of
he would
Desert.
even choose to run that in clan battles or King of the Sea. Most of those, like
wait, who's that guy who in season 3 kept insisted on trying Salem when it first came out and it cost his ZR a number of games? That was DP. Yeah. So DP, there you go. He will do that. Yes.
So I guess Anyways, standard builds are pretty similar. There's not too much variation for the standard clan battles builds. We've talked about them at length in other streams, so I guess we can kind of move on from those. If people really want us to talk about it, I'll bring some of them up. But I think we can kind of move up on those unless people really ask for them.
We don't need to talk about the standard ones.
Anybody who really does want to know, feel free to message me. I will share them with you that we've talked about in the past and talk about them with you. But we'll move on from that.
Yeah, come to us in private, so we don't have to spend time here.
Yeah, we'll happily answer any of those questions.
You hurt me, brother.
Join our Discord or just message us on whatever many things were available on.
Holy shit.
Anyways, the next thing is map tactics. Generalized meta versus smashy versus concealment.
I like the smashy versus concealment comparison.
I think the smashy is really talking about the Stalingrad or just heavy
Stalingrad and Henry and that sort of thing.
Yeah, where they're just there to deal damage and tank.
Just talking very widely about the metas. This season is a very smashy meta, and so was season 1. Right? We have lots of Stalingrads and Henrys just shooting at each other from 17, 18, 19 kilometers.
It's a DPS race.
Yeah. Whereas
in the
last season and probably the season before that, we had a lot more emphasis on concealment, stuff like Zhao and Wooster getting the drop on people.
Yeah, that's season 3 for sure. I know YIKES was definitely the biggest perpetrator of that.
Yeah. I'm sure Amatsu can speak to that.
Dude, we basically set the meta for season 3 and 4 halfway through, where people are like, "Wait, we're getting blapped by 3 Zhaos every fucking game."
Oh, that was disgusting. Let's not talk about that. I don't need to get people.
Yeah, I copied that myself, and it was hilarious when it worked out. But it's also a very high skill ceiling too, so you have to have some good Zhao players on your team. Otherwise, it just falls apart.
So I guess to generally talk about it, the smashy modes are, for the most part, hey, we're here, we're going to do damage to us, we're going to be hard to deal damage back to.
We don't care about concealment. We're gonna do damage.
Yeah,
you know what we're gonna do with
By the way, a quick note on the replay right here. That's a 15-minute and a 12-second wither.
You got wither already? Holy shit!
He's already at 130.
Get out!
Just had to point that out.
So the stealthy concealment, that's something Adopt really loved in but the last season. We ran 3 Zhaos too, just like
we love that.
It was really nice because you can determine the battle upon your playing field. You could say, hey, I'm just not going to go spot it. I'm going to wait until we have things at our ready, where everybody's ready to shoot at these people, and then we're all going to start firing at once. That's kind of like the idea behind the stealthy concealment is you surprise the enemy, get those angles, get those positions that they have to respond to you in some way. The smashy is, hey, we're here, we're going to be spotted. Try to move us out of the way. Good luck. Basically.
Dude, on the replay, what the fuck is your team doing here? Jesus.
more likely question to be asked during a random battle.
So we've already talked about how to counter the Stalingrad Moscow heavy lineup. How do you counter the concealment heavy meta essentially, or
same shit you've always done?
Exactly. That's been in there for other seasons. Zhao is one of the most popular stealthy ships. It's got the lowest health pool of a tier 10 cruiser, or one of the lowest.
Yep,
it's
the lowest.
The
lowest.
Lower than Minotaur.
If Zhao spotted, shoot at it. That's the one mistake we've made so many times, and I see so many other teams make on a consistent basis. There's a Stalingrad spotted, or a Moscow spotted, or even just the battleship spotted, and they're all trying to focus down the battleship with 60,000 health, when there's a Zhao with 40,000 health in worse armor that is just sitting there farming damage, not being even noticed. If you see a Zhao, it's spotted, you have shots, take it, man. There's no reason not to shoot at it. It's gonna go down so much faster, and you'll do better for your team because that Zhao won't damage you later on. It won't spot for the enemy team later on. Shoot the Zhao if there's ever a Stalingrad and the Zhao spotted. I don't know how many times I can say that, and some people still don't get it. So that's the other thing with this stealthy versus smashy is even the smashy teams, they typically have some sort of a destroyer, something for spotting. Because if a smashy team wants to go and deal damage, they need spotting, otherwise they can't do that. So you really have to focus on taking out their spotting.
A big component of the spotting in a team that's damage focused is so that way your cruisers don't get caught making movements they don't want to be caught in. Your Henrys don't want to be caught completely nose into 4 ships.
Yep.
Yeah.
They need to know ahead of time where those ships are, then they can move up properly.
And here's a point where wonky builds can come into factor in.
This is where the RPS Stalingrad is good.
You're running your 12-7 Henry, and then you get spotted, and it's probably a Zhao, right? What do? You gotta speed boost reverse or something like that. On the other hand, you're running a 15-5 Henry, and you get spotted, and it's probably a Zhao. You can just turn out. Far enough.
So he doesn't have any sort of pen angles like the Moing or Stalingrad.
The higher concealment is unironically worse.
So, in some cases, having higher concealment on yourself actually gives you more information and allows you to survive in more situations. Unironically.
I could see that definitely used in the right hands. Most people don't know how to use that. I know I wouldn't.
It's like if you're going to be shooting at things anyways, why run the concealment?
They panic because they got spotted, and then they're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, like I guess it depends on how you want to play the comp. Also, like, do you want to play more aggressive, or your player feel like they're a more passive or aggressive player? It factors into it too. But if your player thinks they can handle the legendary module, the 15.5 kilometer, is it 15.5?
15.5, yeah.
15.
Yes, yeah. So then consider that. But if you don't feel comfortable running a certain way, don't be forced to say, "Oh, because 07 is running this, because YIKES is running this, because NIP is running this." No, don't do that.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we have our own players and we have our own preferred styles. And you playing unfamiliar style or trying to copy what others are doing when you don't know how to use it effectively is more detrimental to you than running your own comp with your own style that you are so familiar with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's something really, really that people need to not underestimate. You can take the top number one's clan strategies and copy them exactly,
And
but if you don't have the skill and the mentality of it, it's going to be a huge detriment to you.
Yeah, I can tell you, we definitely learned that from trying to copy ZR. Oh boy.
Yeah, we had somebody. I think we talked about it in one of the streams, but we had somebody from ZR give us a lot of help and tell us what to do, and we tried to copy it, but that was like season 1 or 2, and we did not have
that
the skill.
sounds like either SCT or Dolphin Princess.
Yeah, we didn't have the skill to do it, and it made us worse. Like it really.
It's the same thing about Dolphin Princess's guides on Reddit. Like they are good for actually unicomps, not for the average player. You have to have really good skills to make them work. And they're so punishing for if you make a mistake that you get big damage numbers if you make it work. But what the trade-off is that you have to play so freaking different, and it's out of your comfort zone most of the times.
Dude, I read DP's guides and I love them because I know some random shitter is going to try to copy it and then just feed his face off. It's so good.
Yeah, like no last stand destroyers.
If you're a great player, you can do it. But if you're a bad player, you're actually going to pull the stats of the ship down and give us all more PR.
Yeah,
and
it's
like it's a win-win.
Stalingrad guide when?
Dude, it's literally...
DP Stalingrad guide, please.
Dude, I literally have a theory that DP puts out those guides because he knows the people that read Reddit are the really bad ones. And so he's trying to tank chips PR so he can farm PR.
I agree with that.
That's some big brain plays right there.
Let's put the chess.
I don't think so. I think Reddit is just like the big platform because like
we're joking,
forum
of course,
is even more stupid than Reddit, right?
Dolphin Princess even like says in every single one, like, "Hey, this is not for everybody. Don't copy this." Like,
but he is the number one for so many ships that he posts about. So like, if you want to look up to number one and be like, "Oh my god, he's doing this. Let's try doing this." Well,
dude, how does this Iowa not kill you?
Yeah, right.
He was using HE.
Anyways, oh my god.
Sometimes a man has to be lucky, okay? That's a Hitler quote.
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh my god. We're going to bend on
What have we
Twitch.
devolved into? Okay, let's get back on topic.
There goes the pod.
Yeah, map tactics for Land of Fire.
So
this one's gonna be spicy.
I only picked out like the new maps that are new to clan battles. Everything else you've seen before. Things do change a little bit, but let's not beat a dead horse with it. So Land of Fire. I'll pull up our tactics map.
Mm-hmm.
For all of you guys, if you don't have it up, I put it in Mentor chat.
Oh my god, I'm fucking grinding my snowflakes out in co-op. Come on.
Oh, you too?
Dude, I'm not done yet. I hate this.
I thought you're done. You told me you're done.
No, I was done with my
I've been grinding for like 3 days.
Wow.
I'm still only like halfway done.
I haven't even started.
I'm like 2/3 away there, I think.
Dude,
Whatever.
Land of Fire. I guess this is one I've struggled on a little bit. So maybe I can tell you guys what we do.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys could probably give better advice. Originally, we did A to B push, which is these two caps right here for everybody watching. That didn't seem to work out as well as we thought. We thought, hey, look at all these islands. This is gonna be easy to like hop along. But we also thought, hey, a lot of other people are gonna think that because I mean, look, you can hop from here to here to here to here. When you look at the map, that looks easy, right? No, the detectability on these maps is pretty small. Even a Zhao, I think, crossing through right here is going to be spotted by anything as long as there's a DD in the middle or just anything. So that's been pretty rough that way. Then we tried kind of like, all right, let's do a wide push. Let's take a Henry, push it out wide like this, do some other stuff. It just took way too long to realistically cap it. I don't know if you guys kind of saw the similar stuff. Maybe you guys had better luck. But we would essentially do like a 2-5 split where we'd put 2 ships at sea over, kind of over here contesting it, and we'd send the other team along around to do an AB push. And same thing mirrored if we were spawn north or south. It just didn't work for us. We would lose too much time. The other team would capture C. We would just lose on points almost every single time.
Well, yeah, because if you are slow with this kind of style, like you would be giving up a lot of map control and points, and also the 2 ships on a flank is a bare minimum you have to have for a flank. 1 ship is not a flank. 2 ships is a bare minimum for a flank.
Exactly.
So yeah, if you want to do a push any map, 2-5 is the only sort of split you can go for. Otherwise, you're stuck with like a what even is 1-6. Like that doesn't make sense. Like 1 ship will get just like run down completely.
Now you get stuck with a 4-3, and you know what we call that in YIKES? We call that the Evrien comp. No offense, dude.
What? Really? Okay.
Big oof. Big oof.
So then we switched. We looked at our win rate for this map. Like somebody posted it. I think it was like 30 or 40%. We're like, what the fuck? We're just terrible at this map. Like,
so is ours.
We're just complete trash at this map. And
yeah, this one's very hard to really like grind down. Like it's very inconsistent with how you wanna, I guess, like make up a strategy for.
So yeah, exactly. Like, you know, we our win rate was shit. We just literally one night we played this map like 3 or 4 times and lost every single time. It was so demoralizing. It was just bad. Like I was trying to like kind of encourage everybody along, but what do you say? It's like we've lost every single map because we suck at this. So we then
for one thing, it's just bad map design. That's one thing we can all agree upon, because like these 2 islands right here, see these are the home cap islands. If you, for example, put one Des Moines over here and one over here, like imagine trying to push into it. Like this is just so goddamn awful for any sort of push, like along this way, or whichever angle you go for. The only way to dislodge them is to have some sort of way to go around them and actually approach from this angle, which, to be honest, is more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was 007. They popped a Stalingrad right there against us when we were kind of doing a push. It was literally like, well, that thing is just going to hold off the entire flank because, you know, we can't really get angles on it. If we move around too far over here, we're then broadside to it, or we're just stuck bow in, and there was no good option. It's just too easy to counter.
Hold on, let me pull up the tactic room. Is this it? I was going to say, let me interject here. Is this the right one?
It's in Mentor chat. I've only posted one recently.
Oh,
I think you just clicked in, yeah.
Yeah, it did. So we played PWP, I think on like a Saturday or something. Saw them deploy this map and saw them put the DM on those home cap islands. So we're like, okay, to counter this and do a successful A to B, we're gonna push like Hargumos and Henrys up and down the 1 and 2 line, get around that DM, and then, you know, fucking kill it from the front. The problem is it takes so goddamn long, and like a kiting Henry from the enemy team on the 1 or 2 line just stops that push for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do it. So we flipped that. So we played ZR and put our Stalingrad on the home cap, and ZR beat it by literally pressing speed boost on their Henrys and never stopping for anything, and pushing their Yamato straight up the middle.
Yep.
So many clans have done that to us too.
And there's a spot where I can point to and like say like Montana would have been better there. If you're pushing your battleship up the middle, Montana gets punished way less, and it's still equally as effective against the Stalingrad.
Stupid. You're absolutely right. Every time I remember a battleship pushing through the middle, it's a fucking Montana. Anytime Yamato pushes through, it's like,
Yamato usually
there's a
fucking
free
dies.
kill.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true. I think it was Static from ZR. We one game we played against ZR this season. He
it's
just parked
Static
in the
playing
middle.
Montana.
Like, he parked in like stern tanking through the middle. So if he just got shot, if he just pressed the W key, went dark, couldn't do shit about it. It was terrible. But
that's also kind of like the Yone style from the Asian server. Yone kind of does that a lot, even with his carrier. Yeah, he tanks with his carrier and kills the seas.
So yeah, that part was like that was demoralizing. So we switched to more of a C push, which I don't know it's kind of pretty fucking boring on this map because there's so many islands off to the I think that's the 1-2 line to the east. Either way, the east side of the map, there's so many little islands. You need to push forward, but if you push
trying
forward,
to play for C is awful.
It is.
There's just so many islands here. Like it doesn't make sense to have this many islands in a competitive around one cap point.
You can't just win the side by putting more people on it because there are so many islands that it's possible for the enemy team to have all of these little like micro situations which make their ships more effective than your ships, even though you have more people on that side of the map.
Yeah, and the thing is,
Awful.
it's nearly impossible to strategize for CCAP because you never know which fucking island they're on.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are so many islands that you would have to think about.
They're here, you can play over here, but you can play here if they're over here.
And while you're messing around
here.
with those islands, the enemy team has more ships on the other side of the map.
Yeah, like we're trying to figure out what to do here. They're already doing this push over here, or vice versa. Like you're trying to figure out like if you should push over here, they need to play over here in certain islands you don't even know. Like you like 10 minutes into a match, and you can see like the only remaining crews I haven't been seeing yet. Oh, it's over here. I didn't even see it because there's so many islands over here.
It's so dumb.
I wish I still had a replay of it. I think we played against Sep, and
can we just bring back Hotspot or some shit?
Yeah, like Hotspot. I miss Hotspot.
Hotspot is so much better than this.
Like, I don't like Hotspot, but I'd rather play on that.
Yeah, the game against a Sep in the whole game was determined against. I think our Stalingrad player accidentally hit the W key when he meant to like hit the S key, and in the whole game it came down to that one fucking mistake.
Oh no!
Where we literally had like a Shima and we had a gearing. We just traded the cap for 20 minutes, and then it came down to somebody accidentally hit the S key. Oh, the Stalingrad's dead. Like that won the fucking game because it was just such a stalemate. And we're just like, well, that fucking sucks. Like, I wanted to be mad at him, but it's such a small mistake you can't even be mad about it. Like, it's just a dumb, boring map to play.
Dude, I never thought I'd see the day where I'm be like, Hotspot. I love that map.
Like
it's better
when you get excited to see a Fortune is when you know
Dude.
It's like not great.
Dude, we literally made that exact same joke in YIKES. Guy, she was like, damn, I never thought I'd see the day where I'm glad to see Sea of Fortune on the map.
I love Sea of Fortune now. It's like my favorite clan battles map now.
Sea of Fortune?
Sea of Fortune was our map back in the old setup with the AB cap.
The overlay cap, over here.
The trap.
I love that. That was great.
I never played on that.
That was a fine era.
It was fun because it focused on the engagement on this quarter. Like this part of the map control is almost negligible, but for this fight you have to consider so much more area, and you actually have to deploy ship over here when 9 out of 10 times they will be left to run on their own over here with only themselves for support, and the other guys having fun over here, and they're like, okay, I guess we'll just.
I wish we had the old cap layout. I wish.
Fuck you, William.
No, that's
fuck you too.
I would say this is better than the old one. The old one was fine in a way, but not in the grand scheme of things. I would not trade this for the old one.
The old one was great.
It was fun.
No, because you just push 6 Moscow into it.
Exactly.
You guys. I played against you guys when we salty. That was so cancer.
It was so great.
It was fucking dumb.
That was dumb as hell.
So I think we went over. I don't know. I guess there's not much to say about Land of Fire other than it kind of sucks.
Good fucking luck, dude.
I think the best thing any team can do is really
good luck. Try and push the west side.
Yeah,
probably.
Really, you
probably.
push is
yeah.
Yeah.
Like this side is for pushing. This side is for contesting. Like this, you can push a side, but this side is the only one that's doable. I'd say. Like for us in NEP, we just eventually gave up on doing this one more than 10 times.
The west side is the only side of the map that you can plan for. Like
this side is so weird. Like we can hold this and we can contest it like sometimes, but
like even if your plan isn't bad, if you were doing C, you would have no plan practically.
Oh, hey,
exactly.
I just saw a question in the Twitch stream. Somebody just kind of mentioned like putting Henry's the legendary mod Henry in proper position. I know we kind of just ragged on the whole like specialty build. I don't know. I think most clans that aren't like one of the top clans should basically adopt. Adopt should not be running legendary mod Henry. I don't think we have a Henry player that is really good enough of it, and I don't think our strategies are good enough to pull it off. So I think a clan like us, this is kind of like middle pack or lower, shouldn't be running.
No, Adopt is above middle pack for sure. I wouldn't say you're lower
no,
anymore.
we're not doing great this season, but still,
if you're having trouble with Henry, I would recommend first and foremost, if you're not having them speed boost off the mark, have them speed boost off the mark. Getting them into this position is better than being able to acceleration juke more faster. And secondly, don't have them. Well, I mean, this should go for most ships, but especially for Henry, don't have them nose in, because if you're nose in a Henry, you're going at the enemy even faster than in most ships.
Yep.
You're even more fucked than in most ships if you end up going nose in.
And your turn circle is spawned.
Shallowly pointing towards the enemy is actually perfectly okay, because at the point that you're getting spotted, you still have good enough rudder shift and speed to turn out before their shells reach you. Just not like ultra hard, unless you're really planning on getting to an island or supporting them.
Or just dying.
And the other thing you mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was related to the clan battles or not, but use that throttle instead of your turn. Your turn kind of sucks already.
Acceleration module, not rudder.
Yeah. Like, rudder is not worth it because you lose so much speed in your turning, and when you're turning, you might as well play Hindenburg, to be honest.
Yeah. Acceleration also helps you a lot for like when you have to farm one particular ship, you don't want to be running around the map. You want to find a spot where you can damage them, and you want to stay in that spot. And more acceleration helps you do that.
Yeah, the thing with the Henry is, even if you have to ass in with the thing, it's so goddamn fast. You can turn around and be pushing.
The funny thing about the Henry, the rearward arcs are crazy. They're like 29 degrees.
Yeah, they're fucking stupid,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And the thing goes like 18 knots in reverse with boost on or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
What the
Like
fuck?
what?
You can just you can reverse into like you can reverse potion. It's actually a thing for Henry, like as dumb as it sounds.
It's literally like it goes like 2/3 the speed of a fucking Hindenburg going full forward. It's dumb.
Yep.
So he just mentioned like they don't have problem with them without legendary mod. It's just with legendary mod they suck. I can only assume that the Henry
Legendary gives you a little way too much vulnerability with the concealment if you're not comfortable playing with that exposed. I mean, you're literally more exposed than the battleship is. So if you're not comfortable with it, it goes back to the idea of
correct me
whether
if
you're
I'm wrong,
comfortable or
but
not.
like if I were to run a legendary mod Henry, if I had one, which I don't, but I would play it at range. Really, just you want something else doing the pushing and the spotting and everything.
Very
with
long
Henry.
range.
Very long
Just
range.
sitting in the back, just being a nuisance, basically.
Like one nice thing about the legendary mod is it gives you more range, so you don't have to get as close.
Yeah. So
yeah,
So with legendary mod, you can afford to be further away than without it.
Yeah.
So you can take a little bit of range to be more careful.
Yeah, to not sound like a complete, but still slightly of an asshole. That sounds like a player issue. It sounds like you're either getting out traded, or there is a fundamental problem with how you're trying to dodge shells. Maybe.
That's my problem. I suck at dodging shells in Henry.
In that case, just go play more random battles. Like that's where you build your fundamentals.
Like,
be more comfortable with Henry. Like
a fundamental point of Henry is like you have the speed to run away. You can and will get away from an engagement that you don't want to be in.
Even destroyers,
as long as you're pointed away from them.
And thanks to the magical powers of IFHE and MBRB, you don't really lose DPS trades anymore.
Yep.
Thanks for gaming.
That's the other thing. I play a lot of Des Moines. I used to say like specifically on Sleeping Giants, it was a common strategy to throw a Henry into ACAP into the Thunderdome. It used to be, I'll just pop in. I can out trade him 1v1 easy, no problem. Now
you can't do that anymore.
No,
nope,
you can't.
Sleeping Giant is such a fun map.
Dude, the fucking Thunderdome is retarded.
The Thunderdome is the best.
Dude, it's
the Thunderdome is about the most stupid thing that comes to a cross.
I love the Thunderdome, man.
It's so random. It's so random.
The match is literally over in like 4 minutes. It's like whoever wins the Thunderdome just wins the map because fucking B2C or whatever it is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing about the Thunderdome that I don't like so much is that I think
all right, let's go with Thunderdome.
South side that's just a little bit favored.
This is the Thunderdome, by the way, Twitch. If you don't know what we're talking about, this is the Thunderdome.
You spend less time exposed when you're entering from the west side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because Wargaming has this brilliant idea for the off cap, your home caps, to have like 15 kilometers of kiting room behind them. So you just can't ever push the enemy's home cap. It's fucking stupid. Like
so you gotta fight in the Thunderdome.
God, I hate Sleeping Giants so much.
I love that map.
Let's move on to another map. North is one of the new ones. So North, I don't know. At least
ass too.
I kind of like this map, but I also hate it at the same time. That our general strategy with it is really changed on and off throughout the season. It's really hard to contest A. Throwing a DD in there is pretty much suicide. I've seen some stuff work where occasionally somebody will push something in like that. I've seen just everybody just pops in battleships and Stalingrads and everything just to contest C. Nobody gets C, and the real fight is really around here, going in through A to B, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
So this part has been difficult. How do you shift your team to do that? How do you really push the west side effectively? How do you just stall the east side? I've seen several different strategies, and what I've come to the conclusion is nobody knows what the fuck to do. Every team is different vastly, and
it's almost like when you put the 2 worst random maps in the game in fucking clan battles rotation, it's still gonna suck ass.
Well, at least it's not Mountain Range.
Oh god, yeah.
I like Mountain Range.
No,
Mountain Range is like the second worst map in the game. I don't know what the first worst map, but Mountain Range is second.
Dude, first worst map is definitely Land of Fire. Let's be honest. Or New Ice. New Ice is kind of shit too. I liked Old Ice better, dude.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna get to Islands of Ice. Don't worry. Let's save that. So I guess I don't know if there's any other general strategies. I've found the battleship best to be like right smack dab in the middle. Like I almost tell our battleship where you spawn is where you stay. Like it's pretty fucking boring for our battleship.
That's most maps, dude.
Yeah, I mean, especially like these new maps. I mean, even Hotspot, Islands of Ice. Oh god.
What the fuck was that?
What the hell?
Sorry. Really?
Don't worry.
Oh god. Anyways, yeah, put your battleship in the middle and get those cross shots. But I've seen some other strategies where they push through C. That is generally suicide unless they have a lot of support with them.
I've never seen a seaside push work for what it's worth.
No,
or as in like a push straight through the cap.
I've seen it work when there's 2 Stalingrads with the battleship all moving in a formation and there's no DD there to stop it.
Yeah, it's the C push is like an opportunity that you take, right? Not a game plan that you actually like had in advance.
Our Stalingrads and our battleship press W through one of the worst caps in the game.
Basically. So that's the one thing I do say with C cap is either it comes down to luck or it really comes down to knowing when to push and paying attention to when the enemy can't do jack shit about it.
Yeah. You gotta recognize an opportunity, because if you don't have an opportunity, then you're not gonna make it happen.
And this is one of the maps where I've seen Henry do the best. Like let me get off the drawer. Here and here is like Henry's playground from what I've seen. Maybe you guys will say differently, but I don't play Henry. In fact, we don't even really run a Henry. This is where I see Henrys just park up. They border hump. They're just a general nuisance. This is where Henrys love their life.
Because imagine when you give 15 kilometers of kiting route near the caps. Huh. Fucking wargaming, hello?
So if you're using a Henry, whether it's legendary mod Henry or not, that's where you should put your Henry. I've seen
Well, not all your Henrys.
Not all your
Henrys, no. That'll be suicide for your Eastern flank.
You definitely want to put your Henrys. Put a Henry up there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You at least want to put one Henry.
The perfect spot for Henry.
Like maybe like if you want to do off-flank divide on this flank, maybe like one over here, one cruise over here. That's effective. Shut down any sort of push from this side.
Yeah.
Or like one over here, one over here. Yeah, exactly. So DD may have to position a little bit forward, but that's going to be a little more less firepower on this side. In which case, I don't recommend you to focus too much on this side, because we have seen less 2DD comp this season than any of the previous seasons because of obvious reasons. So I'm going to advocate
too much damage.
Exactly. Yeah. So the likelihood is that the enemy is going to devote the DD either doing a 9-10 line push or trying to do a strong line push. Like wherever DD is, find the DD first, and then you can consider what to do for the other side. Because 9 over 10 times the DD will be on the main flank, not on the off flank. Why would you have an off flank, like a main flank over here without a DD, and the off flank pushing somehow? That doesn't make any sense.
The thing with this map, it's so easy to hold any kind of push into the enemy's home cap, but the off cap is so fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like if I close my eyes really hard and get kind of drunk, I see Land of Fire 2.0.
So the other thing I've seen a lot of
kinda.
teams make
It's like
mistakes
smaller.
on is parking a Stalingrad right where I put this icon right here. It can be good and it can be really bad. The bad part about it is if you have a Henry or anything, they just park up, say up here. If you spawn in, say you spawn in the north, this is the enemy Stalingrad down there. Park up ships there or there, and then they just rain fire. You have your battleship about here. The Stalingrad backs up and blap. Or if the Stalingrad doesn't back up, it's just going to be rain down on HE. I don't know if you guys maybe feel differently. I've seen a lot of teams do that and it not work out very well for them.
I can agree with that. Open water Stalingrad is perfectly fine. And that's as good a place as any to use it.
Yeah, the thing with open water Stalin is you have to kind of control vision around it. So you either need to turn while dark or just ass in with it the whole game.
The other place
you can't really nose in with Henrys anymore.
Exactly. The other thing I've seen Stalingrads and Moscows do well is a push through the east side.
They're pretty good on this.
I drew these lines. This is their weak spot. If there's a battleship in the middle, which most teams do run that's where they're vulnerable for the most part. Obviously, it changes a little bit. That's just a general diagram of the Moscow's vulnerable or Stalingrad's vulnerable in the middle. So you need a ship out here on this west flank to spot that and let your battleship know so they can make sure their turrets are ready, their guns are reloaded, waiting for that. However, it does kind of suck if the Stalingrad kind of does one of these, but then they should be vulnerable to the ship down here then, ideally. So that's how you kind of counter that. A Zhao in a Yamato or a Montana. So put Zhao in the circle over here, and then put the Montana, Yamato, whatever the battleship is here. Or actually, not there. About here.
Too many damn lines. Stop putting lines, please.
But essentially, that's your weak spot. That's the really over dramatically point we're trying to make.
Yeah.
You can counter that pretty easily with coordination.
I guess what we're trying to get here is that the C cap here is C, right? I won't call it C anyway.
I believe it's
C cap. The way to win C cap is to take the 910 line. Same way you win hotspot on the earlier maps. Like 910 line. Yeah, so if you can secure like this general front, then you can secure yourself on the DD over here. Yeah. And that's
and it's specifically to deal with the guy who's on this island, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You take the 910 line so you can deal with the guy who's on this island.
Yeah.
Who's
and surprisingly, this island is trashier for this push because this island is more secured from this side than this island was from this. You're more vulnerable from being spammed over here than this guy is over here.
Yeah, I guess you have to decide, do you want to do an AB push or do you want to do the 910 line east push? You have to make the conscious decision as a caller to pick one.
Also, if you based on the enemy composition, like if the enemy, for example, is more stagnant, stationary, holding the anchor type, then probably not devote too much until you figure out what their eastern decision is. Like 9 out of 10 times they'll have a very strong presence over here on the east, and it's very hard to push anywhere like down here. So western push would be more ideal. But then again, it's also harder to say for sure until you see their exact deployment, which usually by the time that you should have your basic deployments ready too. So it's kind of like a coin flop of how you want to do this. Not really like a surefire way of this is the definite way of winning this, because to be honest, no such thing exists in CW, and that's what makes it so fun.
And call this map fun.
Do you guys have any other tidbits you want to add for this map, or should we move on to Islands of Ice?
Specific for 07, tell your DD to stop eating shim torps in the 3 line. Thanks.
Oh,
I'll deliver that. Okay.
So, Islands of Ice. This map is a pain in the ass for one reason. It's fucking small. I don't know how many times, at least early in the season, I had to warn some of our newer players and even some of our better players. I'd start off every map by saying, "This is a small map. It is a battleship. Your detection pretty much looks something like this, like as Yamato. It went like at spawn. Okay, that's a really bad circle, but you get my point. It went up to like almost the middle line as Yamato. It was terrible that way.
Well, Gretzky did not graduate from art school
with the range on this.
Although because you can't,
doesn't work.
It's they uploaded the image itself, so you don't have the data from the server.
Yeah.
The spawn of a battleship was something like this, and it's pretty much the same for like a Moscow Stalingrad. So if you think about it, you move this around. wherever that ship is, if they move up the middle, they're going to be spotted early. So you have to position yourself in a way that you're not going to just be like stopped broadside to a bunch of ships. I don't know how many times that screwed us over, especially.
I do not go this way. If you're a high consumer, low consumer, go this way.
You don't go. Yeah.
I think like our Moss or Stalingrad player, this is a popular spot, and then also I think like over here is another spot. I've seen a lot of Stalingrads and Mossas over here as well. For the most part, you spawn, you almost reverse, and then do like one of these, like kind of like that. It's a bad drawing, but something like this.
Quick 3-point turn.
Yeah, essentially. Excuse the crude drawings, but you get the point. If you really want to not get detected moving there, that's what you do. Some people don't give a shit about being detected, and they just angle properly, and that's fine. Have your plan. Don't be caught out broadside.
Yeah, you can get away with like not reversing, but you definitely don't want to be pushing in close early.
Yeah, like if you think you can get away with it, you can even do like this. It's absolutely fine. It's not as bad as you think it is. But the thing is, you cannot go in like say this for example. If you are a Stalingrad, because the DD crossing over here in the beginning will be like, "Hey, hello, what you doing here, little guy?"
Exactly. You can't do something like this to try to get to that island. You're gonna get screwed.
Yeah. It's actually 13 point. I actually don't know what the scale looks like on this map. I haven't seen it in a while.
I just know, like, I played Yamato a couple times. I don't play it often, and if you see me in Yamato, it's usually because our better battleships are gone. But I remember my Yamato at spawn, its concealment went pretty damn close to the middle of the map. Like,
yeah. For this map, I guess we can say is that it divides really like cleanly along the mountain range islands. I say like one side will have all the engagements over here, and rarely will one side interfere with the other because of these retarded islands in the middle here. And so your outflank is very isolated from the main flank. Very little chance to be get crossfire to help you. So you have to plan accordingly. What I would,
you basically are fighting two completely separate battles in this. Like 1 to 4 line, and then like, what is it, 8, 9, 10, give or take?
Yeah. And
like
also
the map just doesn't exist.
Yeah, and once you try to go for the enemy cap, like you try to take the cap, you're already committed. If you go into the cap and try the cap, you either come out of it alive and take the cap, or you die inside. There's no other the second option here.
Wow. Very insightful, Evrien. You either die and win the cap, or you die and lose the cap.
Because you cannot extricate yourself easily from here. Chances are when you try to go for this cap, the enemy already repositioned back to kill you. Either you take it, your team wins this, or you just run away from it.
It takes no time at all to get there,
I put those 2 squares. That's pretty much where the map is played. The middle is like a no man's land. Occasionally,
maybe not
teams,
down here, all the way down here. I rarely see any ship going down here. To be honest.
So let me readjust that. I got overzealous with my highlighting, but I guess you get the point. Like it's something like this. Same thing with the other side. But for the most part, that's at least where it is. So what separates the bad teams from the good teams here is knowing when you can push through this middle. It can actually work. If you do it too early, you get focused down and die. If you do it too late, you're useless.
Yeah, the middle push more likely is to kill the enemy battleship that's positioned around here.
If you see enemy,
if you see that like low on health, and you'll be like, oh, let's kill him. And so you coordinate the push down here or down. So like these two kind of push and to kill the battleship that's stuck in the middle. That
or
can
it's
work.
The battleship pushing into the middle to get like cross shots on these guys.
Yep.
See Dirt with his Borgon pressing W at us.
Yeah.
Borgon is actually stupid because like if you don't give it auto bounce angle for 381, you'll get penned because of the French penetration. It's so crazy.
It's also a Borgon, so
yeah.
Another thing I've seen a lot of teams do bad that worked early in the season, but definitely do not. Maybe you guys haven't seen this up in the higher level leagues. They'll throw a Des Moines or a Worcester right here.
Oh no! Bad idea. Do not do that. No.
Bad juju. Don't do it.
We did it early on in the season just as a DD trap, and that Des Moines we essentially rode off. Yeah. And it worked effectively for a long time, but now that we're fighting like competent teams, no.
Don't. You want to know precisely what happens?
Yeah.
To deal with that, we can can put a Stalingrad there.
Exactly. King of the Seas experience right here tells you exactly which islands counter which. Boop. Yeah. Let me just flip that around for you, so you.
And also, just to like really, I know this from experience too, so feel free to laugh at me. This side gives a lot less cover than this side. There's like a dip in the island where the island is shorter on the southern side. You have so much less protection. You can almost sort of get away with it on the northern side if the enemy team is really not ready for it. Either way, eventually they'll quickly get ready for it and you'll die. You'll just survive a little bit longer. So
I know exactly what Dippy's talking about too, because I've been doing randoms.
This is a bit off topic, but like that island is a bit of a shit show, and I can tell you, during COT 7, during our games against Omni, when we played on ice, we put a Wooster
I remember that game. That was glorious.
And he claimed like 5 million potential damage.
Oh my god.
The destroyer that we had permanently right next to him claimed 1 million from just like being near him.
Yeah, because you're so much under pressure. They know that if they dislodge the AA cruisers here, they gain all the middle map control. So why would you not, right? And that just goes to show how vulnerable this island is, and plus that everyone will be trying to, see if you're here and kill you when you're a cruiser in there. That's very unfortunate. You don't care if you're a Wooster or a Minotaur; they'll just kill you.
So yeah, people don't do that.
Yeah, like this island is so misleading. People think that it's got perfect protection from everything down south. No, it doesn't. Like you get so easily crossfired from both angles. If I see a Typhoon level clan do this, I'll first be questioning why they're here in Typhoon, and also that whether or not they're having the right player on board, because it's just a straight up no go. So get all the mentality.
I think it was against ARP. We stopped playing for a few nights, so like we weren't very high in our progression. So we started playing, and we were playing against some mixed level of teams. We finally got Islands of Ice. We're like, hey, this has been working for a long time. I shoved in right here. They killed me in less than 2 minutes. Like it was stupidly ridiculous. Don't do it, guys. Learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, like you're Des Moines or Moskva. Like these two islands are good enough for you. You absolutely want to radar. Yeah,
they're so much better.
Yeah, but even these are still kind of dicey, but they're better than this island, that's for sure. Because you can still radar this cap, and you will have more support from your teammates over here or over here or over here.
Yeah, you at least have more of a chance at these other islands down here and up here of retreating. This island, you're pretty much stuck. Your choices are die longer or die quickly. Like you can die slightly longer. I mean, it's not a good situation to be in. You're gonna die. So I don't know if there's any other general strats. I found this one to be best, like to really contest A. We've tried the BC push. That didn't seem to go too well. It's pretty easily countered. There's so many islands to hide behind to get good angles to stop a good push. Maybe you guys have experienced difference. If so, I'd love to hear it. But I feel like you really have to at least give a good contest to A.
I agree. I think comes down to your player's raw skill, how much you can outtrade the enemy. Like for NEP, we don't have that much competitive experience compared to YIKES or 07. We never played King of the Seas. But we have played a lot of randoms, and we're very solid random players, so we can outtrade very easily. Even YIKES or 07 can outtrade us that much, we can tell you. So playing on this side, if you can think and outtrade the opponents with your raw skill, go for it. Like this is going to be the easiest cap you can imagine. But if you cannot, probably consider Eastern push or more center deployment, because in that sense, this sort of islands will be kind of hard to push through if you absolutely want to shove anything into it.
Yeah. Most battleships are in the middle here, too. Pretty much every team I played against, they have the battleship here or here, at least for the first half of the game. And they can get excellent cross shots. Zhao, Henry, pretty much the bulk of everybody's forces are in these, the 1-2 line. So this map is kind of like Hotspot, where the map was decided on the 9-10 line on Hotspot. This map is mostly decided on the 1-2 line. Occasionally there are some great pushes in the BC area. But those are really dependent on a lot of factors.
You can really only push that if you like run into your counterpart holding that flank and then like outtrade them stupidly hard.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like your outtrade is a huge thing on this map. It's more so than Net of Fire or North, because North and Net of Fire is more about deployment, how you strategize as a whole, as a team. But for this one, because of the islands actually having like so many vulnerabilities through them, you can actually outtrade the opponents when they are trying to make any sort of a push or gain. Like two ass-in Henrys like this over here, they'll be like the focus of whether we win this fight or not.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's so hilarious.
A Henry right here or like right here, border humping or just in that area. It's so annoying.
Like if you want to take a picture for season 4 Clan Wars, just go on this map and take a picture of two armies 19 kilometers trading at each other.
No, dude,
hilarious.
Just take the picture. Just take a picture of like the Henry's ass and just be like, that's this season.
That's what you see.
Yeah, and also these two islands are easily what's it called not extricated. The cruisers coming on these two islands will easily get killed by the armies over here. Whereas the more Stalingrad.
That match where I showed our Haragumo playing, where I think the clock got up to like 996 or like 980 something, and we turned around and came back. It's because let me just throw some ships out here. They had parked up 2 or 3 ships right here, and then they had charged 3 ships like here, like this, and we were something like I don't know. Our battleship was right here, and we had some cruisers around here. So we just said like, okay, well, you guys had the lead. Now we just have easy kills. We pushed up our battleship right here. We pushed up our Des Moines right here. So they either moved forward to the battleship or they moved forward to the Des Moines, and they were done. And we brought it back from 996, essentially. I mean, it came down to them bulking up on those 2 islands, right, or this island right here.
Yeah, there's no crossfire. You have very limited options once the enemy corners you. That's basically the worst idea, worst place you can ever.
2 ships there, but I guess you get the point. Don't park a lot of ships there. Maybe 1 ship. Even that, it's hard to get out of that spot once you're there, especially for Moscow or Stalingrad. Once they're there, their only option is to reverse. Like that's your only escape, and that is not great.
I think there's like 2 little Icelandic villages on those rocks. Just like drop anchor and go get to know them. So
you might as well abandon ship and
say hi to your locals and get to know them, exchange gifts, like wish them happy holidays, and then go get on with your life.
What they call it in World War II, where you'd sink a ship in shallow water with the anchor down, like on purpose. There was a term for it.
Doing the Amatsukaze?
Scuttling?
No, that's to kill your own ships. That's he's referring to the war crimes one.
No, fucking like when they would like sink Japanese ships in harbor to act as AA mounts.
Oh really?
That's scuttling. That's scuttling. Or like beaching.
Is it still called scuttling?
I mean, you're technically destroying it.
Yeah, they're basically you can't extricate it anymore. Like that's what we're trying to do for Yamato when they sent her off to the final operation to Okinawa as basically a giant onshore artillery.
Is it still called scuttling though?
Well, I don't know. Like maybe there's a term for it, but we know what you mean by it. It's basically that.
Yeah, that's basically your Moscow when you put them there.
Yeah, or Des Moines or whatever.
Just fucking scuttle them. Get to know the locals.
Yeah, well, at least when your ship sink, your sailors will be very safe in good hands because they'll be right next to a village. Unless the village is hostile, in which case you'll be POWs. So yeah.
Well, the enemy team has probably shelled them a few times trying to kill you, right?
Good point. So it depends.
The natives will be restless.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's the general strategy. Strategies of these new maps. If you want to look at some of the other maps, we can link our previous training battles or training streams and stuff. I guess we can kind of move on to the last topic, team cohesion. This is kind of stuff we've gone over, but I still see people making the same damn mistakes. At least for some of the new people we bring in to Adopt, Adopt is a training clan, so we bring in a lot of people that are from various clans that just want to try to at least get some basics on improvement. So one of them is just communication. So many of our new people don't communicate when they're using radar. They don't even say anything. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, there's a destroyer spotted. He must be spotting, or he must be shooting something, or he must have gotten too close to it, something.
Oh, no.
And it's just like, oh, hey guys, there's a destroyer. Did anybody have shots? No. And then he goes dark. It's like, oh, hey, Des Moines or Moscow, can you radar? Oh, I just used it. That was me spotting it. Like, oh, no. Like, if you are a radar ship, it is your duty to say, hey, I have radar. I think I can radar a DD or I can radar something. Does anybody have shots on it? If your team doesn't come back with at least one or not even one, if 2 or 3 other people saying, hey, I have shots on this, whatever it might be, don't waste your radar. There's no point. You're not going to 1v1.
Make sure your team is aware of your intention before you pop the radar. Radar is such a powerful consumable. You don't want to waste it.
Exactly. Like so many times it saved a game because we killed a DD because the DD usually the DD pushed up too far. I was in a Des Moines. I called out for radar. 2 or 3 people answered. 3 or 4 people shooting on one destroyer. That thing is going to go down fast, no matter how much it wiggles.
Stop pressing buttons because you want to press buttons.
Exactly. Call it out. Say, hey, if I use radar, do people have shots? Some people might say, hey, give me 10 seconds to get in position. It's worth it if that DD runs out of your range of your radar. That's fine. You're no longer spotted. Whatever, it happens. You would have wasted that radar. You can wait for it to come back again. Maybe you'll need that extra consumable charge later on. Either way, it's a complete waste to do it. Call out your radar and coordinate it with people. The worst thing you could do is just use a radar and not say anything. I don't know how many times I can say this, and people still make this mistake. I'm just going to stress that one so much because it bugs me to death. General communication is just say, hey, I'm going to die, or hey, I'm in a position that's not favorable to me. We need to get rid of this ship, or I will die. Say something when you are going to go down. So many times people just go down and don't say anything, and there's just a heated battle. The rest of the team doesn't realize, or maybe the other flank doesn't realize, and they say, hey, the off flank's fine. They got 2 people against 1. It'll be no problem. And then they look over after so much has been going on, and they realize it's a 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 2 because somebody didn't say they're going to go down, or maybe their partner could have helped more, but there was a more appealing target that they went after. Say something when you think you might be going down or you've made a mistake, just so your team is aware of it. Mistakes happen. People make bad plays. I think every one of us has done it. No matter how good you are, you've been the result of a loss at some point, probably. At least say you're going to go down, so your teams were, aware. Like, I won't be mad at people as, usually the shot caller if they make a mistake and go down. I will be pissed if they don't say anything and just assume everybody's paying attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and another thing is that, like season 2, Masakaze and myself, we used to like hop around different Twitch streams of clan battles, trying to see how other leagues do things when they're playing Clan Wars. And one thing we noticed that they like less inexperienced clans used to clog up the communication channel with like, oh, I got 1 fire on this Moskva, oh, I got 1 fire on this Des Moines. Like, no, that's not. Like, you don't need to call that out. Like, sure, it's great you got 1 fire, or I got 1 Citadel. Like, that's great, good damage. I feel good for you, buddy. But the thing is that you're clogging up channel with useless information. What should be called out is instead, oh, the guy used damage control party. Let's all focus him down. Oh, this guy is low on health. Can we focus him down? Who's got shot on this? Like, these are useful calls. Do not clog up your communications channel with useless information. You only have 1 communication channel too. So
I'm getting flashbacks of watching like Flamu stream Omni, and they just call out each individual fire, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay.
Who needs?
Who cares? I got pseudo this guy.
Call out damage cons, not fires. You.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you notice an enemy ship put out a fire or put out a flood, call that out. Especially a battleship. A battleship putting out a flood or a fire means you should have 3 to 4 ships shooting at that battleship.
Call out things that other people on your team care about.
Yeah. Like damage control party for one is huge. You see your fire running out faster than it should be. Like it's go for it. If you get a torpedo hit, say that torpedo is actually very important because if they cause flooding, they'll trigger damage control for sure. And that's basically the first step to becoming a better clan for clan battles is to call out useful information.
I think it's useful to call out a torpedo hit, but say torpedo hit with flooding or torpedo hit with no flooding.
Yeah. Yes, because sometimes the flooding can be damage control party, so whoever has fire ticking on that ship can probably.
The reason why I say that is sometimes, as a cruiser player, I'll see a DD hit a torp on a battleship, and I'll assume there's a flood because most of the time there is. If there's no flood, I shouldn't be risking myself to put HE fires on that. I should be focusing on another target. If there's no flood, it's not as priority to get fires on him. If there is a flood, we want to be firing HE on that aggressively.
Yep.
So that's very important for the DD to call that out. Especially a DD calling out, "Hey, I'm hard spotted by something." Depending on what DD you're in, it means it can tell you, especially if there's a 2 DD lineup. Say it's like a Shima and like a Grozovoy. If you have a gearing and it's out spotted and it's not running legendary mod, it's definitely the Shima. Call things like that out. The gearing will beat the Grozovoy in a spotting duel. Those certain circumstances will give your team so much information saying, hey, we know the Shima's on the other side. We could be less wary of torps. Or we could, it just gives you information to act upon it and make your strategies and your moves, about it.
Yeah. If you want to mash buttons and yell at people, just go play Overwatch or something.
Yeah, to call out, hey, especially early in the game. I don't know how many times lately it's been a problem for us because we don't know where the battleship is. As soon as somebody says, "Hey, I've been shot at by the battleship," the battleship shots came from this position. That's useful.
That's really useful.
It's so useful, just so your team can go, "Oh, hey, the battleship's on this side. We have free range on the west side," for example. You know, it gives you so much information if the battleship isn't spotted to say that. Otherwise, your teammates are just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, not helping you win. So I don't know. Is there general other communication stuff you guys want to hit on before we move on to just general shot calling?
Yeah, don't put Australians in your clan battles team. They're pretty toxic.
Wow. Okay, that's the insider joke. Nobody else would get it.
Oh,
to be honest.
Actually, one bit of communication I want to touch on that isn't probably as I don't know, important for clans like 07, YIKES, and I don't know how NEP is, but Adopt, at least we bring in a lot of people from different clans. So that means we don't know each other's voices. I assume mostly like 07 and YIKES, they're people that have been playing together for the most part for a long time.
Nah, dude, we occasionally just shack up an oil slave. It's fine.
But to call out like, hey, I'm this player in this ship, saying like, so I would say like, hey, I'm Grusky in Moskva and I'm going down, or like, hey, I just took a big hit. I can no longer be aggressive with my health. It's just saying like, oh, hey, I'm dying, and you're playing with new people. They're gonna go, well, which one of the 6 other people has said that? I don't know. Like, it is important to call out stuff like, hey, Grusky Moskva going down, or you know, whatever it may be.
Speaking in the third person.
Yeah, like it sounds stupid and it's unnatural, but it is super helpful. Also, if your clan's running Discord for voice, put on the Discord overlay so you can see who's saying that too, if that's a problem. That's a super helpful tool I've found for coping with having a lot of new people.
Yeah, especially if your clan do a lot of like inter-season recruitment, like NEP does some recruitment as well. So like we would have inter-season recruitment.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is NEP not Chinese only, like PWP and shit?
Well, we were selective about who we take in too.
It's not open recruitment then.
Get out of here. Yeah.
You get the point.
Yeah, so like just make sure you know your fellow teammates more. Like you don't have to like know each other's birthdays, like know where they live and know what their favorite anime is. Like you don't have to do that much, but just at least make sure you know like their voice, their style, and try to get more comfortable playing with them, because they'll be the key to victory for you. Literally, like you have to depend on them to win that number of battles to get the steal for Stalingrad or whatever. But that's basically your biggest chance.
Together, play.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Do something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, just getting to know each other, like how they play is so important. Like knowing that, hey, this person is strong in DDs and this person eats a lot of torpedoes like me. I'm bad at dodging torpedoes. Like it's just a fault I have. Like I'm so bad at it. But just knowing that, so you don't put that player in that position, or you know if that player is in that position, they're probably gonna take torpedoes if it's me. Like just knowing that kind of stuff can help you just make decisions that really help your team.
Just have a family hentai night and go watch hentai. Oh wait, rest in peace, Hentai Haven.
Is that what YIKES does?
Yes.
So,
can confirm.
So the next topic is shot calling. I don't know. We have a lot of people that are trying to learn shot calling and Adopt, and it's hard. So it's a little bit nerve wracking, at least. I know we've kind of talked about it in other training streams. The best thing I can say is you're going to lose games eventually, whether it's your first one or not. The best thing I could say for some of our new people is at least try out some of your new strategies, ideas early in the season. If you're going to try out crazy shit, do it early on. If you're later on in the season when things get more competitive, it's a little bit harder to deal with that loss when you're trying to like push up to Hurricane or push up to Typhoon or to Storm, whatever level you're playing at. Try those things early. The other thing is don't be afraid to make those calls that you think can win. If it loses the game, if you're in a situation that you're already going to lose and you sacrifice a ship because of play that might win the game, I mean, go ahead and do it. You have a 0% chance of winning, or maybe a 30% chance of winning. Wouldn't you want to take the 30% chance? It's not an exactly easy thing, but having players that are semi-competent to communicate, like communication is the first topic I wanted to hit because it goes so deeply into shot calling. You need to communicate things to shot caller or each other. Like the people in the off flank, if they're communicating well and me as shot caller, I hear them in the background, and most of the time I'm listening to them, and I can hear, oh, hey, things aren't going well on that flank. We really got to be aggressive over here on this flank because they're going to lose, and if they lose and we just do nothing, we're guaranteed to lose the whole game. Whereas at least if they're going to lose that flank, but we push over here and win this other flank, we might win the game, or we might get the kills that can sacrifice the cap points that they're going to give up, and whatever it may be, just communication goes well into the shot caller, and the shot caller should be trying to overall listen to that. I do think it's important too to have like an off-link shot caller, one person kind of taking charge in the off-link, especially for those clans learning. Did you have something, William?
I agree with the off-link shot caller.
Yeah, even if it's just to communicate, one person to communicate.
Especially if you're like a slightly lower down clan. Amatsu's not gonna like this, like me talking about this, but Kebab told us about his experiences calling for ARP when he was back there, and basically he had to micromanage a lot of people because the level of play for each player was like just not up to Unicum or Super Unicum standards. They couldn't just take care of themselves.
Yeah, it's fair enough. The thing
so
with
it's really important to have people to like, if your players can't take care of themselves, you need someone who can take care of them.
You need a babysitter.
Exactly. So whenever we have somebody who wants to start shot calling, we start them off as the off-link shot caller, which some people actually argue it's pretty important to have a good off-link shot caller because you have two ships. Maybe they'll run into the main flank of the enemy, depending on if they're doing an off-link push or whatever it may be. They have to be somewhat competent to pull that job off. I still think it's a great spot to start because you're managing only one person. You're managing one thing. If you guys are going to get overwhelmed, say you're two ships and you see 5 ships coming at you, you got to let the main shot caller know, or whoever's in charge of the other flank, hey, we're going to lose here. 2 ships are not going to take on 5 ships unless those 5 ships are making a lot of mistakes. You need to let the main flank know, like, hey, we're going to lose our home cap. You guys need to push over there. You're only against 2 ships. Go. You need to share that information. It's a great way to start off because you're managing one other person and yourself. It's a bit hard and distracting to manage 5 other people and yourself. There's so many times where I watch my replays and I'm like, why the hell aren't I shooting? What am I doing? Why aren't I doing something? It's like, oh, that's right. I was telling people what to do and what we should be doing, or I was just paying attention to the mini map to look for an opening. That's why I wasn't firing my guns. So things like that are important, but also put yourself in a ship that you can shot call in easily. Destroyers are highly recommended to not shot call in because you have to micromanage so much and pay attention to so many little details that it's
and render
easy.
range is a bitch.
In render range, too.
Yeah,
Render range
is the big part.
Yeah, you don't know what the health pool is like on the other flank. Battleship is probably the most comfortable one to shot call, but most of the times Battleship players aren't good shot callers.
Real quick though, little tidbit that I don't know if even William knows this. Your torpedo range actually affects your render range. 20k.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's 20k Shima.
20k Shima gets battleship render.
That's hilarious.
Wait,
yeah.
Shorter range Shima torps get like less render?
Less render, yes.
Huh.
Yeah. Dude, try it. Run
Right.
20k.
I don't have Shimikaze, so I wouldn't know.
Oh,
wow. Well, look at this. Top tier NA clan not having one of the OG destroyer lines. What is this?
Wait,
I don't play bad ships.
Oh.
Wow.
Alright,
you what, mate?
Dude, Willem, we just established that Shiva is actually a viable choice this season. It's not bad. Time to grind your own, boy.
Bad ships.
Go grind one. Go grind one. Otherwise, I'm telling Kosatsu.
So yeah, I
Tell
guess
whoever you like. I don't play bad ships.
pick a ship you can comfortably shot call in, whatever that ship is. Make sure that's a good ship. I recommend something a little bit more static, like a battleship or maybe a Moscow Stalingrad. Even though you could really argue those are bad too, because you have to pay attention when you're going to get overwhelmed and all these different angles and cross shots that you could be missing. I know I've definitely missed.
Honestly, as long as you have the render range, every ship has to pay attention to something, right? It's just a matter of degree. As long as you have the render range, you can shot call.
Yep. And the other thing is, if you're not a shot caller, or if you are the shot caller, your other teammates should be somewhat competent in shot calling to notice, hey, there's an opening we have, like there's a weakness in the enemy team. It's impossible for a shot caller to see absolutely everything, and mine's work differently. Like it's actually good to have somebody thinking differently about things. So really having the other players communicate, hey, this might be a good idea. As the other player and as a shot caller, if somebody says something like, hey, I think we should do this strategy, as a shot caller, it's your job to say, yeah, go do it. Either I can't pay attention to it, you guys are on your own. Let them know that they're making their own choices. Or let them know, hey, that's a terrible fucking idea. I mean, especially like training people to shot call. We've had people make some, really bad strategies, and you gotta, as the person learning, you gotta say, hey, is this a good idea? Can we try this? Maybe you'll get a absolutely no. You didn't realize that there's a battleship that has your broadsides if you do that, or something. At least bring it up and listen to the feedback and take that. That I think is the best thing you could do, is at least mention that. And don't be afraid to fail. You probably will screw up at some point, but it's okay. Like I think shot calling is one of the things that made me at least a slightly above average player. Just because when I started shot calling, I learned so much more to pay attention to the map and randoms, that I would go, oh hey, like these guys are completely unaware. If I just push through here as my one ship, I'm gonna have the advantage, and it'll win my team, the game. So really learning to shot call, whether you have no interest in it or not, just being a competent communicator can really help you just become a better player in general. So really work at it.
Yeah, on the flip side, and this is not an issue in higher tier clans or even clans that have played together a while. If you're trying out a new shot caller and stuff, and you're not the shot caller, don't try to override them, even if you think they're being fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think
it causes too much chaos.
To mention something like, oh hey, I could do that, but if I do that, this might happen. And if
that's fine and that's good, but don't walk in and be, okay, the shot caller's a fucking idiot, you push here.
Exactly. That's the worst thing you can do. Honestly,
there's a portion of the season where it doesn't really matter if you win or lose, and that's like the first half.
Yeah, like I tell people,
literally the first
if
half.
you realize you've made a mistake, or you're questioning your decision, make one decision and stick with it. Switching between decisions, like, hey, should we push the west side or should we push the east side?
You just end up doing worse overall.
Exactly. You're gonna lose both of them. Have a plan and stick with it, even if it is a bad plan. You'll do much better.
Be decisive. Yeah, just be decisive.
I agree completely.
So, somebody, I think that's all the topics we have. Somebody wrote in turning in versus pushing and versus turning out and holding. Did anybody write that and want to go over that a little bit?
I'm not sure what to say about that.
I think it's just saying pay attention to when is a good time to turn in and push, and when is a good time to turn out and hold your flank. I mean, I think that's
turn out in front of the Stalingrad while you're lit 10 kilometers away.
So I think that's just like, pay attention to when you have the advantage. If the enemy team is pushing at you really hard and you don't have the ability to kill them quickly, you should be turning and kiting. If the enemy is really far away and doesn't have much to do to stop you, especially like a strong alpha strike, like a battleship or something, you might be able to push as long as you have something of an exit to get away, so you don't eventually melt to the Henry shooting at you at 20 kilometers. I think that's just really paying it map awareness is what that's trying to say.
Pretty much. And the only thing that actually is like a mechanical thing, turning out should always be the last option, really. Because it usually just gets you dicked on.
Unless you're already pointing away.
Yeah, well, then you're not turning out.
That's the other thing I think we should quickly mention. We mentioned before to newer players, but I still see newer players making this mistake. Early on in the game, if you find yourself overextended, you're full health though, try to turn out.
Just press S.
Trying to turn out, or even just pressing S. Eventually, if you keep running at them, you're going to die really quickly. If you just press S, you're going to die eventually because you can't get away in time. Turning out sometimes is actually the best decision I've found for a lot of those newer players. Sure, you might lose half of your health, you might die, but at least you're getting a 50 chance of death versus 100% chance of death eventually.
Like, we're at the point around here that I can just look at the minimap with our starting positions, and I'm like, oh yeah, all except one of our ships are pointing away from the enemy team, and the one who isn't pointing away has hard cover from 75% of the map.
Yep. So I guess just pay attention to map awareness and where you're gonna get killed from, basically, and always have an exit plan. I don't know how many times I stress that to newer players. Have an exit plan no matter what you're doing. If you're kiting, if you're pushing, have an island you can hide behind. Have a DD that can maybe smoke you if you stop firing. Try your best to have an exit plan to minimize your damage and stay alive as long as you can. You dying early is the worst thing you could do. Making that choice, even if you walk away with 10 health, you're at least denying So you walk away with 10 health, you live, but you've denied the enemy the points that they would get from your kill. Even if you
that's
never
a 100
fire
point
your
swing.
Again. Exactly. So
right there.
If you never fire your guns again, you run away to the one line with your 10 health, you can't heal it back. You're doing more for your team than being dead. So that's I guess what I want to close it on. If you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about before we end the stream?
No.
I think we've gone over everything. I haven't seen any questions recently, so I think we've got most of that.
I'll end it the same way I do every other stream.
Oh, no.
Are traps gay, and does the dick make it better?
Traps are very gay.
Yes, but the dick does make it better.
Oh no.
It's not gay. You say no homo, bro.
That's a matter of taste.
Okay, so I think we'll end it on that note. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.